stuff. Wait a minute.
Yeah, I mean, my only concern is, again, the spell casting ability of these guys really concerns me. I mean, they had a copy of the Necronomicon, and it's an old original copy, Greek. So it's got to have tons of spells in it.
Right. I mean, it's gonna have.
So if the spells that these guys are able to leverage against us, that is my main concern.
Right, but
so I'm not sure we can.
They're going to be able to use those spells much easier if we're right in front of them, or if we charge at them, or we go places where they expect us to be, like Jacob's Manor, or the Twilight Lodge itself. We have to find ways to do things. We have to find a way to do something about this without actively being where they expect us. We have to start thinking like this is a war. We have to start thinking guerrilla tactics.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. I'm just not sure that's not negated by a lot of their spell abilities.
I mean, even if it is, it's a better chance than running up to them and them hurling, them just like stopping our hearts.
Well, I mean,
but again, if we're not being in front of them.
Remember, Whipple, they went head on to these guys and they conquered them. They didn't kill these guys ultimately, but we know how to put him back in the box with the resurrection spell. So that's even, a further time period back with lesser weapons than we have now.
Yeah, but I think there's a pretty good. I mean, they just had so much, like, I don't know. It seems like they had the whole. I don't know. I think they're prepared for that. I think he was probably less prepared and probably alone back then.
Oh no, I think the situation is really pretty similar to the one in the 1700s, and I do think you could get a pretty decent contingent together to go in there and try to clear the place out with us.
Right.
At least then you dislodge them. I mean, the other thing is too, again, being in front of them, casting spells, but them being by themselves and giving them time to prepare and contact people, and that's my concern.
Well, then maybe we should start considering, like, figuring out where they live. Maybe we should start.
Hey guys, quick here, unrelated to the game. My daughter wants to say hello to all you. Here, come on in.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Get in there.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Create a character and play with us.
What?
Create a character and play with us.
Yeah, these guys need all the help they can get.
Exactly.
Yeah, we do.
I'm good. I'm gonna go now.
See you later.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
All right, sorry guys.
Yeah, man, this is a deep situation.
So wait, let's time out for a minute. Remember what happened when we went down to the basement? There were a bunch of cops outside, right? And we had already started the mayhem.
Yes.
So we don't even know what's come back. We don't even know what's happened from all that. We're how far away? 6-hour drive back?
Yeah. And I presume that's when we're talking about this.
I can help you guys out a little bit here.
All right, go.
All right. So you guys reached Montpellier early in the morning, and there is a kind of small local hospital there. Jacob's getting treated. So you guys spend, some of the morning kind of collecting your thoughts and discussing all of this stuff. Ben Knuckles has made some phone calls to headquarters and all that kind of stuff, and he has some news for you guys. Tom Terry. You guys remember Tom Terry? Please, Sergeant Terry.
Wouldn't like Tom Terry
is dead. He was found in his house. Apparently, he hanged himself. Suicide.
He's your cocaine buddy.
Edward Call.
Really?
Died in a house fire. His house was burnt down to the ground, and him and his wife were both died in the fire.
All in the past 6 hours?
Yes.
These guys are just murdering, man.
Also, bad news too about the Pinkertons. The Pinkertons have basically been given a cease and desist order regarding Jacob Crowninshield. Apparently, the mayor and the Massachusetts district attorney have become involved, and their hands are tied at this moment. They're dealing with some political bullshit. And maybe the worst bit of news is that the Crown and Shield Manor also burned down.
Oh shit!
Is that where
overnight.
our stuff was?
Yeah, that was where everything that we've collected was.
And they found 2 bodies in the
Close it.
burned down manor. And he doesn't. The details are kind of sketchy. There's an investigation going on, of course, but they, of course, think it was arson of some kind. But there is an investigation going on as far as those 2 house fires.
Is the safe still in the basement, Sean?
You don't know.
Okay.
Knuckles was trying to get information on that, but he couldn't get any info from the Pinkerton guys.
Okay.
Now at this point, Knuckles tells you, Jacob, at your bedside, because you're in a hospital bed.
Yep.
And he says, Jacob, I have a family. And I'm still trying to fully comprehend what has been going on here over the last several weeks. But not only, have I been recalled because I am an agent of the Pinkertons, but I feel like that at this time, we're going to have to part ways, at least for a while.
Who says this?
Because he says, this is getting to be too much, Jacob.
Who says this? Ben Knuckles?
Of course, Ben. I understand. You should go to your family and be safe. And if we can make our way through this at some future point, I'll contact you. But I appreciate everything you've done.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
He says, and he also tells you, after talking to his superiors and the higher ups, they're sorry that things are the way they are, but they're basically going to have to give you the cold shoulder for a little while.
I understand politics. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I understand the political connection that's going on there with the mayor and the pressure that they can levy against you guys. It's not an issue.
Yeah. So, but he wishes you the best of luck. And he says you know how to reach me if you need to.
Yeah.
But I'm going back to Boston, and I think I may be taking a little bit of a vacation for a while.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea. You should leave.
Okay, so that information: Tom Terry dead, Edward Call and his wife dead.
Who was Edward Call again?
Beauregard and Henrietta, they found 2 bodies in the manor. Beauregard, Henrietta, dead.
Oh,
probably.
no way!
And apparently the Crown and Shield Manor has been burned down.
Edward Call was the doctor. The doctor
Yes.
that was with us. He was kind of friends with the family and all that.
Yeah, but that's all to be expected because we violated their inner sanctum sanctorum and we stole their most prized book and we threw dynamite at them. We burned their house down to Vermont, so it's payback, man.
It does seem to be,
It's payback.
It does seem pretty likely that this stuff would be going down back in Boston right now.
Oh yeah.
Now I think, and I still think that they're fully expecting us to come back to retaliate, but they're ready. They probably got like a machine gun in the window,
I'm not sure we should be going back.
I don't think
What?
we
Yeah,
should.
I'm thinking going back to Boston's probably a bad idea.
Yeah, like remember we found that letter. There's other places for us to go explore. Maybe we need to get on the boat to go to Australia or
To France!
where to France, something. Get the hell
Yeah.
out of Dodge, because Boston. If we're getting the cold shoulder from Knuckles and the cops don't want my cocaine, and there's nobody else to support.
Well, that guy's dead. That guy's dead.
Oh, dude, I just got an idea.
So that's the
Cocaine
problem.
man's dead.
Boston is not welcoming. Let's get the hell out of here.
Okay,
Yeah,
We
dude,
should
I'm
go to
all,
France.
And all
I'm
of that's just a preliminary report. You guys don't know what else may have been going on.
yeah, but
Okay.
think about this. Are you guys willing to leave that safe there with all our shit in it?
I think it's safe to assume they got that.
It's safe to assume.
Do you think? Do you think?
All right, what is in that safe?
Okay. Oh,
Oh, you know,
Um,
nameless
all kinds of-
Colts and the
all
Somerset
kinds of-
tablets.
yeah.
No, wait, not
Colts.
Somerset tablets.
All of the Shub-Niggurath medallions,
Great. That was the first thing I thought of.
yeah,
Eusebius's papers,
yeah.
Percy's papers, Farnsworth's papers.
All of our magical spells. And a primary source of occult knowledge, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the first thing. Okay, just digest that for a minute. The second thing is, you guys know, you never leave the enemy behind you. It's the first rule of warfare, people.
No, sometimes you run away.
No, dude, that's I don't now hold on. I don't have a problem with running away temporarily or relocating. I'm okay with that, considering the context of what's happened.
Did the tale of
We have to
Sir
adjust. We have to adjust. I'm okay with adjusting the plan. Absolutely, in war that happens. We might want to run away and relocate, but to leave
All right.
these guys behind us, not go back for our stuff and take care of this is a huge mistake, man. These guys will murder us if we let them stay. So hey, let's relocate. Let's cast some spells. We can be stealthy. I'm all for that.
Lee,
Let's
I
go
have a
back
middle
and get our
ground.
shit.
I found a middle
You know?
ground. You know
Yeah,
what?
but-
We know one place, Stanford, whatever, always goes. He goes to New York to do a
The meeting.
business meeting.
Yeah, Tom mentioned that there
Good
are
point.
some other clues that would lead to other locations having to do with the Silver Twilight. Number one.
What do you
let's
say
see
to an
here.
ambush in New York, fellas?
I'm all for something like that.
Yeah, number one is this,
But first,
And-
we need to go back and see if that safe is there, man.
and number two, of course, is this.
Mm-hmm.
McBain.
Yeah, I don't have any problem modifying the plan. So
Yeah,
going
well,
going
like,
to New York and snatching this guy up or killing him, I'm all for it.
Every
Yeah,
Monday
I
at
think that's-
7:30, we can
that's a great idea.
maybe
you know,
that's
I'm
where
all
we
for
want
that.
the
I mean,
airy
dude,
traveler to show up.
yeah, maybe we should
Pick him
actually.
up and drop him into the sun.
I was just about to say maybe we should consider that option, that route.
I love
we
Jacob's resolve.
Maybe we should consider the.
I just-
getting some
it-
extraterrestrials flapping down from space at him.
I'm
Yeah,
all for
you get a
I'm
cup
all
of
for
coffee
casting.
first. Have
I'm all
yourself
for
a nice cup of coffee, airy traveler. Then rip him out of there and take him into deep space.
yeah. If you
Strangle
got how about this? If you guys want to find a place, basically a safe house, okay, to hide, and some of us go or one of us go to see if we can't retrieve the contents of the safe, right?
Mhm.
And then we plan on going to New York and maybe casting some spells or doing something like. I'm all for that, but we cannot leave these guys behind us, man. I'm all for your idea of selectively assassinating these guys, picking them off. That sounds like
it's
a
our
great
Call
idea.
of Cthulhu Phoenix program.
Exactly. Yeah, I just
It's our Operation Gladius.
And this is how you know
Precisely.
that Edgar's going insane, is when he's actively talking about destroying the servants of the devil, like, dead serious, we should just go and kill them. It's time. They've sold their souls, it's over.
Yeah, so he's no
He's kinda
longer the
raving
Edgar
about
Kingsley that you know, that you knew.
He's raving about
He's
them
the only
as
Edgar that Marshall's ever known. It's the guy who burnt down that fucking house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you want to you want to grab a place in New York, maybe Sparky, under some assumed name. Grab a kind of a safe house there, and we'll.
I can't believe the manor of our childhood has been burned to the ground. I'll volunteer to go back there. I want to see the house. I've got to see it for myself.
Well, don't worry. We'll
Yeah, of
we'll,
course.
we'll
Of course
rebuild.
They don't know me. I can go under my name. We don't have to do anything like that. They have no idea who I am.
So does Sparky just kind of like fall into this presumed criminal activity, like this gangland violence?
Well, here's where Sparky's at. So Sparky served in World War I with Jacob, and was largely involved with behind the lines trench warfare, lots of hand-to-hand combat. So he's if Jacob is saying there's an issue and it's family related, he's all in. Mainly because they shed a lot of blood, and he would believe them. Now,
Right.
the one thing he wouldn't be too understanding on is, all the wizardry, and I think you guys are going to have to stick with Vengeance Bear. And there's just some bad guys you're tangled up with, and he'll have to see it for himself. But, as far as like somebody's coming after the Crown and Shield family, he'd be all in on that.
Right, so maybe we're keeping the let's go murder him in New York talk kind of among us three. Dr. Van Helsing, Jacob, and Edgar.
No, I think
Edgar's
He's
really
the
mad.
other thing is,
Sparky would be okay with that as long as he knows these people are coming after us.
well, he's a younger guy and probably a little bit of a hothead, so he's probably not.
He used
I
to
think
he used to club people to death with his bare hands. I think he's okay with going and snatching someone up. Who burnt down our ancestral home.
That's why his tennis serve is so damn wicked. It's crushing.
No.
Like the blows from his truncheon on everybody's head.
Yeah, just think about when you play against the German players, the irony.
Yeah.
Every serve, boom! Remember that.
He jumps the net and takes a scalp.
Edgar will insist, though, that he needs to go somewhere and talk to some people about his new life choices.
His two life choices.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's the option too. I mean, the obvious option is, Jacob is still recovering from the bear attack. He's pretty low on hit points, needless to say. Pretty bad shape.
Yeah, I need to recover, man.
How long does he need to recover? And like, what are we talking?
Yeah, generally under doctor's care, you recover 2d3 hit points per week.
We're gonna need to find
Wow.
a new hospital every week, man. We can't stay in one place for long.
So and also, if you guys wanted to get Edgar
We want
institutionalized, as well as Pumpkin.
Pumpkin, yeah.
Well, would Sparky
take
have
some
some
time.
connections in Vermont where I could send them straight away?
Yeah, I mean, there's some reputable institutions in Vermont that you could commit them to. Sure.
All right, well, I think that's what we should do.
Let
Based
the
on
healing
everything.
process. Yeah, let the healing process begin.
Yeah, so we can get that little yelling guy icon off of Edgar and have him back full force, quoting non-demon related Bible verses again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just make sure it's a really good institution, Sean. Wherever they
Like
get
they
sent,
change
it's got
the
to be
room bucket out every week at least.
it's got to be quality.
The room bucket.
Sure.
Exactly.
Well, there is the hospital in Vermont that has a pretty good reputation. They base their philosophies on the humane treatment of mentally ill patients.
Yes.
It's called the Brattleboro Retreat.
Aha! Yes, a
Built in
retreat.
Built in 1834. It was a Vermont asylum for the insane.
Okay, well, we
In
will.
modern day, apparently it's one of the most haunted places in the world.
Oh, good. I wonder why.
Excellent. Excellent.
I think actually, was there a lore episode on this?
Yes. It's one of
Okay,
the most famous, yeah.
But it started off good.
Started off great, yeah.
It started off good. They had enough staff, but then it became like over.
All right, are we in the good stage? That's all I need to know.
The good stage, yeah.
Are we still in the good
you
stage?
would know when you got there, because
Yeah, it was founded in 1834. It's been around for a long time. It has a good reputation.
No one who flew over the cuckoo's nest revolts by the patience.
Every week.
Every week.
Every week.
Brattleboro Retreat, I believe it's located. In Brattleboro, Vermont, of course.
All right, so if we drop these guys off at the asylum, and
the
Jacob,
retreat.
the retreat, sorry, and Jacob off at the hospital under doctor's care to get healed, are we thinking then we're going to try to get this retrieve this safe? I mean, how big is this safe?
No. You just need to get the contents of the
Just
safe.
the contents of the safe. Yeah, we're not dragging the safe.
Okay, well, who's got the combination? Who can get into
Dude.
it? I've never even seen this safe,
Dude,
so I don't even know what we're doing.
I gave Sparky the combo, man.
Yeah, but does he know where it is? I mean, what's it going to
Yeah,
look like?
it's in the bottom of the burned out hull of Jacob's hull.
I'm related to Jacob Crown and Shield because, like, when I made the character, just FYI, it wasn't just something I threw together. Like Sean was like, you've got to be related somehow to this thing, and that whole character kind of like lined up. He's a relative of Jacob Crown and Shield, so he knows the house, he knows everything about it. He might have forgotten the combination lock, but I'm sure Jacob's going to refresh his memory, so he would be familiar with where it is and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm already thinking of rebuilding, man. It's in my mind. It's in my mind.
The first castle we built burned down and sunk into the swamp, so I built another one.
Exactly.
Yeah, so Brattleboro is in southern Vermont. You guys could arrange even to have them transported there by the hospital if you'd rather do that, or you could take them yourselves. But all arrangements can be made, by mail or by telephone or both.
How far away is that from where we're at, Sean?
It's quite a distance, roughly. $200 miles or so from Montpelier.
Hey, Sean.
I think we should stop by with them just so we can grease the staff a little.
Hey, Sean. While I'm in the hospital recovering, I contact my guy Deutsche Bank. I have him send over a lawyer, and I make my will out, and I make sure that Sparky is the first in line, and then Dr. Van Helsing, and then Edgar for the Crown and Shield.
Burnt hole.
Fortune.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
just in case I get clipped.
I'm actually kind of glad you did that.
Yeah, just in case I get clipped, I do that.
Yeah, his name is David Lee.
No.
He's an account rep for Deutsche Bank. He works in Boston and New York. He kind of has two different offices. Usually you can find him in New York. And you contact him and you get a secretary. And basically you have to leave a message for him to contact you. And the secretary, almost surprisingly, says that, Mr. Cronenshield, he's been trying to reach you for the last couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
Did you not receive his letter?
Nope. I've been out.
No.
Who received the letter?
Well, I can arrange to have this this letter sent to you if you could give me an address.
Careful. P.O. box.
Yeah.
She says, you know,
Why don't you just read it to me?
Yeah, I tell her to read it to me over the phone.
sure thing.
Like, just read it.
Okay.
I give you permission.
This may seem a little off base, guys, but it's interesting. It comes in 2 parts, actually. Let me see here. It's fucking music.
I know. I was gonna say, as she starts
But the-
reading it, that's what we hear. Oh my god.
Right. No.
But I think I turned down the music in my settings because it was like the intermission music when I came on. I was like, bah, 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 bah. I could barely hear anybody.
Well, let's put on something a little more soothing. About the drag. The drag. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. It says, "Dear Jacob." Oh, here, I'll show it to you on screen so you can look at it. This is part 1. It says, "I feel rather silly writing for help, but I simply must have aid in this matter. It would be useless for me to go to the police as I have no proof of any criminal activity. I have heard of your accomplishments with the Silver Twilight, and I'm hoping that you could at least advise me. I would be most grateful. A year or so ago, an organization called Look to the Future came to New York, and it billed itself as a cooperative businessmen's group and promised to inspire and aid materially those who joined. I joined the organization 8 months ago, but quit last month. The head of the organization seems to be a Mr. Lestalis Black, though the organization is remarkably secretive, and I've only his bearings and demeanor as evidence for my belief. Mr. Black claims to be a gifted psychologist. By subjecting our intelligent and sophisticated minds to certain peculiar psychological conditions, he claims that the membership's creativity will be released, and that we will be enabled to perform all sorts of physical wonders and metaphysical means. Metaphysical means. Thus, we regularly meet together and pay a nominal fee to support the organizers. He says he will be sharing in the grand discoveries that will come from this. The psychological aura created by Mr. Black is certainly most queer. He begins by standing at a podium while all of us, the attendees, are asked to meditate upon certain specific geometric shapes and designs. A sheet containing diagrams of the aforementioned designs is handed out to each member at the start of the meeting. And while we meditate, Mr. Black begins by reciting some sort of invocation in nonsense syllables. He says that these syllables have been carefully chosen to elicit the proper subconscious response from us. As he chants, he begins to gesticulate wildly, and then we are all signaled to begin to chant a simple litany of our own. Ong Dr. Linkta, Neblad Zin, Ong Dr. Linkta, Yog Sothoth, Ong Dr. Linkta, Yarl Maten. We repeat this nonsense chant for 45 minutes to an hour. Mr. Black continues to energetically gesticulate and emit strange noises until he seems to reach some sort of finale. And he does a bit of stage magic, always the same trick, but smoothly done. Then he gestures for us to stop. We then have tea or coffee. Many thuggish seeming men assist Mr. Black now and then, as do 2 well-mannered men, a Mr. Brian Slim and a Mr. Carl Stanford.
Carl Stanford.
In addition to the monthly meeting, which I have outlined above, we also have weekday inspirational seminars with various guest speakers. Mr. Slim seems to be the most important organizer for these seminars, as indeed he is for the more esoteric monthly meeting. The thing that brought you to mind is that some of the speakers have urged us to join a fraternal lodge, thereby to enlarge our circle of friends and to make trustworthy business acquaintances. They specifically mentioned the Silver Twilight Lodge as an excellent choice. I must confess that Lestalis Black's methods seem to work. The organization has for sale many extraordinary artifacts they say were brought back from the future by our mental effort. I saw reason to believe these statements. 2 months after I started to attend, Black came in with a perfectly astounding item, which he allowed me to purchase for $100. It is well worth it, let me tell you. I will show it to you if you come. Many objects are marked with a copyright or trademark and dated far into the future. Now, for my reasons for distrusting Mr. Black. After each meeting in which we do the chanting, I feel headachy and sick for some hours. I've noticed that since I joined the group, I have lost some of my former vitality and force, and feel as if my health may be deteriorating.
Sucking power from the man.
Yep.
I really could not say if this has any connection to look to the future, but it seems suspicious to me, especially since I have noticed that my acquaintances in the group suffer from the same syndrome. Another reason for my distrust of Los Dallas Black are his armed guards and the secretiveness that he keeps about himself and the organization. His guards speak no English or rudimentary English even, and their crude behavior certainly does not inspire confidence in them or him, nor does his often flamboyant dress, fezzes, and such. I would like you and your friends to visit a few meetings. I hope you can expose this organization for a fraud or decide that it is open and above board. If the organization is for real, I would like to be reassured about it so that I can rejoin it and continue to bid on those fabulous artifacts that it offers. Hopefully yours, David Lee.
Hmm.
And this is to who?
Like my kaleidoscope.
To Jacob.
Yeah.
This is
Items from the future, like my kaleidoscope.
yeah, this is from Jacob's private banker, basically.
Items from the future like that bike.
Yep, the bike. Well, I couldn't take that, but I do have the kaleidoscope.
Well, this
Well,
guy's
it's obvious
he
that,
didn't
that
put
these
his,
guys are all intertwined, you know.
Yep.
He didn't put his last name on here. It's David Lee Roth.
That
Dude,
letter,
he would be the coolest banker ever, man. Can you imagine? You walk in,
that
being
letter,
one of his.
that letter from before that we found. Did it mention something about going on in New York? Did it mention about a contact up in New York?
You mean that advertisement?
Yeah, the flyer. That's the flyer for the Look to the Future group, man.
Yeah, is that it? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this thing right here.
Yeah,
with Carl
Yusufus had noticed this in a newspaper when you first started investigating the Silver Twilight Lodge, and the name Carl Stanford jumped out. That's what you guys recognized.
So then it is literally looking to the future.
Now, what about that other letter? But we had all the organizations. They talked about some in France and Spain,
Oh yeah,
Australia.
that's from Duncan McBain.
That's from McBain.
Yeah, this one.
That's
Did this say anything about New York?
that's just below the screen. You scroll down a
I
little
don't
bit,
think
the whole
that
thing is right
that
there.
letter specifically mentions anything.
Guys,
Okay.
continue. I'm gonna be back in just a minute. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, it mentions the Hermetic Order, you know, or
It mentions
something.
it mentions that some Americans are digging in a temple and they're interacting with snake men.
There's a dig going on at the temple.
Serpent people. Yeah.
Yeah, this Miss Chantrain, who appears to be some sort of French, probably a French member of the French chapter of the Silver Twilight, is working with some German cult called Dual Bruderschaft.
Yeah, you get a sense that these Silver Twilight people are kind of putting their feelers out to some of these other sort of esoteric organizations, looking for recruits.
It
Essentially.
also says that they have somebody named Helmut Grossman who hasn't been to Germany for over 200 years, but should definitely go over and talk to Thule Bruderschaft today.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It refers to the Order of the Templars of the Orient. They're apparently lackluster. Yeah, it does say that you might suggest to our German colleagues that individual members of the order be carefully approached as potential followers of the True Gods, implying that there are other chapters throughout Europe. So maybe we should just skip this whole New York affair, go right on up to Europe, right? I don't know, man. It's just kind of a hot zone here in the United States right now, especially in Boston and this whole East Coast.
Well, I would say, like, first, before we do any of that, let's. I want to ride with. I want to take Dr. Van Helsing. Everybody can come if they want to, but like, I don't want to just have a car pick up Edgar in Chelsea. Like, I want to go see what the place is like.
Yeah,
You
drive
make
down
sure
to
it's as good
Brattleboro.
as- yeah, and then also like, try to gain, the head nurse's confidence, something like that, and say, look, if anybody comes looking for them, that's not us. We need you to call us. Get in touch with us somehow. So that we've got at least like somebody watching out for us.
Use your good look. Use your good looks, Sparky, to charm her.
I'm sorry, who are you talking about, Kyle?
Well, when we arrive there, whoever's going to be the carekeeper for them both, or whoever's in charge,
Yeah.
The head nurse.
yeah, tell them, hey,
Well, Dr. Stanford is in charge.
Dr. Stanford.
Yes.
Oh,
Coincidentally.
God dang it! No, get me. As soon as I hear that, I have like a fit. Like, no, not here, not here. We're going elsewhere. No devil. This devil seekers. And I start like pointing around.
Yes. Indeed, his name is Dr. Stanford.
No relation, I hope.
Is Dr. Stanford
Probably.
Who's
Probably not.
Jeez.
Yes, and the nurse's name is Abigail Scott.
All right, we're out. We're out of
what?
here. We're going.
Charm her,
Abigail
Sparky.
I'm just fucking with you guys.
Oh yeah.
Use your good. Use your good.
I
Use
take
your
my
good looks,
trench out
Sparky.
and I bludgeon them to death.
Yes.
And we'll strike them off the list.
Yeah. Actually, her name is Abigail Scott Barker. She's got a hyphenated name. But yes, Nurse Scott says that's no problem. We'll take good care of Jacob.
Of Edgar and Chelsea.
Oh wait, no, we're talking. Oh, you're talking about the nurse. I thought you were talking about the nurse at the hospital where Jacob was. We're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about taking those guys to the retreat.
Retreat, yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's actually quite a nice place. It looks like it's been recently renovated. It has beautiful landscaping on the grounds and everything. It seems really a very nice and kind of swanky place. Turns out very expensive as well. But of course, money is no object. I'm assuming that Mr. Crownshield is footing the bill here.
Yeah, not for my friends. Edgar, with your hell, he deserves good treatment.
Yeah. So
Everything looks on the up and up when we're there.
Absolutely. Yeah, they give you all assurances, that everything, will be kind of done by the book here, and we have some cutting edge techniques and therapies that we use, and we will give you, updates. You're free to visit anytime. There's no restrictions as far as visitors go.
Oh, good.
And we're more than willing to work with you, in any kind of correspondence if you want to be notified or given progress reports.
You should give them a list of people that are not allowed to visit.
Anybody with your last names.
Anybody wearing a fez?
Yeah.
No guests with fezzes. No
Seriously,
Stanfords. No.
Well, I think anybody who's not Sparky,
Yeah.
that's period. Just if it's not Sparky, they're not allowed. Period.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't know Sparky.
Right.
So if it's not Sparky, it's you can't be visited by anybody but Sparky, man.
No.
This, of course, includes Jacob Crowninshield, because I'm sure that would be a trick they would use, just disguise
Yeah.
themselves as you and
Yeah.
Exactly,
I'm
man.
paying for this patient. I demand to see him.
No, it's only Sparky, man. Only Sparky. Sparky's the man. The good-looking tennis pro who'll beat your brains out. That's my truncheon.
All right.
Reminds
So,
me of that Monty Python skit where they're playing the tennis.
anyone?
And, yeah, the blood spews. Great.
Yeah,
bastard.
Salad days.
Yeah.
All right. Well, feeling confident that only I will be able to see them and they're in good hands, then we'll take our leave.
Yes, everything seems to be very above board. The place is very clean, professional.
Do I get my
You probably get your money's worth out of this place.
There's not actually a Dr. Stanford, is there?
Of course.
Oh, well.
Dr. Stanford is the head psychiatrist here.
Oh, good. Good gracious. All right.
Sean? Do I get my will amended?
What?
Do I get my will amended?
Well, that's something you're probably gonna have to do. In
Yeah.
person.
Well, is
in
David
New York.
Lee? Is he in New York?
Yes, he's based
Okay,
in New York.
so let's
He does have an office in Boston though as well.
Can Jacob travel at all or no?
Well, let's.
Yeah,
I think
no
the next step is for Sparky to go get. Did you guys get the stuff out of the safe?
No, I wanted to drop off ailing mental patients first.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I think that's the next step. You should go back and retrieve what's in that safe, man. I'll go. I can go with you, or if you think it's better that I don't go with you, however you want to handle it.
Jacob.
Well, I know where I'm going.
Jacob can travel, but if he does, for the most part, if he's not, bed rest or whatever, he may not get the extra 1d3.
I'm staying in bed, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep him in bed.
Yeah, I'm staying in bed. I'm healing.
So I'm gonna go to the Crown and Shield Manor with myself, I guess.
Okay. Well, it's essentially it's a day trip basically to get down to Brattleboro and drop off the patients there and get back. So now we're looking at it. It is Saturday, June 21st.
And wait, do you really want to go alone?
Say again, Tom.
You really want to go alone? Shouldn't I go with you? I'm not sure you should be going by yourself.
mean,
Maybe the doctor can stay in the car.
They know you guys, so
Yeah,
Oh,
but maybe
that's
the
true.
doctor,
Okay.
maybe the doctor can stay in the car disguised.
No,
with a
you're
heavy
right.
tip.
No. Sparks, because they don't know him. You're right. No, that's fine. No, go by
There's-
yourself. You're right. You're right.
there's no disguising Dr. Van Helsing. I mean,
Right.
that face comes right
Correct.
through.
Correct. Yes, as the music begins. Yes.
Exactly. That's like when you open the door to say hello to him. Like, sweet Jesus, there's no time where it's not a shock.
Maybe
What are they
maybe
at? There you go.
Exactly.
Maybe a clown outfit.
Yeah. What is this crude interruption?
Where's my cocaine?
Where's
Oh,
my
God.
cocaine?
Oh, dude, that's awful.
It's
Yeah.
right in your hand. Anyways,
Sparky should go by himself. Good call.
oh my God, the crescendo.
Lovely.
Wow.
All right.
Oh, jeez.
So yeah, now it's Saturday. So yeah, you take a day trip. It's uneventful. You're not attacked by any hunting horrors or anything on the way.
Hooray!
And you get back to Montpellier, back to the hospital. Everything's fine. So now we have Chelsea Van Helsing and Mr. Edgar Casey in the insane asylum. So mark that on your character sheet, Alex.
What? Where? What?
You're at
You already did.
You have
I'm
been
institutionalized.
basically committed to the Brattleboro retreat in Brattleboro, Vermont.
It's part of your resume now.
part of your resume.
Institutionalized. Brattleboro State? What is it? Brattleboro what now?
Brattleboro Retreat.
Retreat.
They renamed it earlier in the latter part of last century. It used to be called the Vermont Asylum for the Insane, but
Okay.
things
Well,
With a little better marketing, it became Brattleboro
a
Retreat.
little more politically
Yes.
correct now.
I guess
Yeah.
you can put Edgar in the past investigators for now. Then
Do you have a backup character?
I
He
do.
does.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out how to roll for. I'm trying to figure out how to roll for income. Because Dad doesn't pay attention to the chat log.
Oh, I'll look at it. I'm looking at pictures of electroconvulsive therapy done there. All right. Okay, so let's see. What were you writing in relation to your new character or anything?
Was I writing?
Did you say I missed something about your new character?
Yeah,
Income.
I whispered you how do you roll for income.
Oh, you whispered.
But
Roll a d10.
Alright. 1d10. 5.
Right down the middle.
hobo sweepstakes, baby.
Right. So for the 1920s, that equates to $4,500 annually.
That's a lot. Oh, annually.
Yeah.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah, and doing the math, Tom, I think to equate 1920s dollar to modern day, you multiply that by about 12.
Yeah. Okay.
Somewhere between 12 and 15 is
Okay.
about right. So.
How much would I have in savings?
Right. Let me do the math on that. Real quick.
By the way, my character is a U.S. ambassador to the UK.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, he's got a whopping 95 in credit rating. He speaks German, Latin, Mandarin, Spanish, Greek, and French.
Greek.
As well as English, of course.
Yeah, Greek.
He is 53 years old. He is from Innsmouth.
Oh,
That concerns me.
That's
His weapon of choice is a sword cane, and he's a collector of antique rifles.
That's because, as we know, all American ambassadors are highly trained.
Sword cane experts,
Combatant.
yes.
That's
So,
pretty awesome.
Alex, you're going to have property and assets with value equal to $22,500.
Property and assets at 25
You are
years.
going to
Property and assets at what? I'm sorry.
22,500.
Okay.
You have $2,250 banked as cash. $2,250 in stocks and bonds.
Okay. Spells known, ancient artifacts, Cthulhu mythos.
Not yet.
How many vengeance bears have I killed?
No vengeance bears.
Alright, awesome.
goddamn vengeance bears are in the UK too. There's no end to these things.
So yeah, we need to. Alex and I were trying to brainstorm a little bit and like how to best bring his character in. We were just kind of hitting a brick wall in a way. He suggested that he have some because Alex wants his character to be sort of have a shady background, just like probably most politicians in the 1920s.
Sure. Well, I'm thinking because
Some
I'm an
connection to
ambassador.
bootlegging.
Because I'm
Well,
an
maybe we
ambassador to the UK, I'm thinking that I would be a direct source of booze from the UK to the United States. You know, I'd be dealing with the people in the UK, like I'll buy your cheap booze and then bringing it back or arranging it to be brought back to the United States, and I can deal with that, you know, politically, and I know people on both sides of the.
Could the doctor know him through his professional dealings, and like
Yeah.
I know this ambassador through my professional.
Don't forget
Tom,
that Eusephus was working some angles like that when we were in the UK. And Eusephus was also trying to work that angle while we were in Boston. We just got busy doing other things. So if he was running booze out of Europe, maybe they crossed paths, and maybe he's trying to get in touch with Eusephus now.
Right.
I actually thought of that as well. Let's actually go with that, Alex. What I was talking about with Eusephus.
Okay.
Little known to Eusephus and the others. Actually, the long arm of the law, was hot on his trail at the time of his death. He was actually being sought in relation to a bribery charge in New Jersey.
You outlaw motherfucker.
Yeah, from a couple of years ago, and you were implicated in this bribery scheme. And when Eusephus wound up going to the hospital after getting hit by the truck, remember the cops were there. They got your name, and your description and stuff like that, and apparently they found you in some of the wanted files. So Eusephus was basically about to be arrested before the shit hit the fan, and he accidentally died. So yeah,
He
we
fell
can,
on a couple of bullets.
yeah, so we can use that. And what I was thinking, it's kind of a loose and maybe a little bit of a hokey cheesy connection, but perhaps what's your character's name? Hale.
Yeah.
Hale
Dallin.
Hale Dallin.
Ambassador Dallin was perhaps trying to find Eusephus to tip him off that he was being sought, but that basically had a warrant out for him
Right.
because Dallin was involved in the same ring as Eusephus was a couple
Right.
of years ago in New Jersey, in Atlantic City.
So then I wanted to bring him back to the UK, and so that he can resume his shady dealings on.
Right.
From the
So
other
the higher
side.
ups in that organization, which Dallin certainly would be, were probably trying to find Eusephus so they could insulate themselves from any kind of interrogation that Eusephus might be subjected to.
Kidnap him, bring him back to the UK.
Well, not kidnap him,
Tell
but just
him
tip
never
him
to
off.
leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think the other thing we might want to consider, I mean, that one sounds solid enough, but if there's more threads that connect, I mean, has he always been an ambassador to the UK?
He's a former senator.
I mean, another way to look at it too is if he's a powerful political force.
He is.
If he's someone who has powerful political connections, and he interacted with Eusephus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any of us that would know about that interaction would be like, this is a guy we need to talk to right now, because he might be able to help us.
Yeah, that.
Right.
Right.
How nice.
If we're being squeezed politically, if we're being squeezed politically, and we need, and obviously the underworld's the only place we can really look for help.
Yeah.
And we know this guy's a serious political operator, and he's on the sly.
We can do that. I just don't know how open Eusephus would be about his past and his connections,
Well, he probably wouldn't. He might not be at all. I think it would have to be the ambassador trying to find him, and then us making the connection, right?
Okay, so check this out, right? So
that's far more likely.
Well, one thing though,
maybe
a lot
the
of time did pass after the Honduras. A few months passed, so maybe there was some mention and some talk about Eusephus and his contacts in New Jersey and how he knew that he was probably being sought, that he had committed crimes and maybe that's why he had a fucking alias in the first place.
Right. Or
Chemo
dude,
at the
better
bottom.
yet, while looking for him, maybe like the reason I couldn't find him is because he was in the Honduras, and so when he finally gets back,
Perfect.
I
Yeah.
look at who he was traveling with. I can't. Percy Fawcett's gone. We don't know where he went. So I just kind of go down the list, like, hey, you know this guy? And so
That's
maybe
perfect.
I guess I'll call up Jacob Crown and Shield, who I probably.
Well, no, I think it'd be the other way around, like Leah's suggesting, where they would realize like there's some political shit going on in Boston as far as, you know, the Pinkertons,
Yeah,
Jacob's
we're-
house getting burnt down and stuff like that. So Jacob would probably be going through his mind like, you know, who do I know? I mean, he probably knows
Yeah.
a lot of people of political influence, but who's like the best or my best chance, my
Yeah.
best bet? And it was
Someone who Eusephus knows.
yeah, it would probably be you know, Senator Dalaran, you know, who he may not know, you know, now is actually an ambassador, but he served a few terms in the Senate for Massachusetts. So yes, he does have quite a bit of political clout.
Yeah. And since I know his connection, maybe or maybe not with Eusephus, you know, that's even more.
Right.
And that's a nice choice in the picture there, Alex. It's like he already looks insane. What the fuck is up with that picture, man?
Wait, what picture? Where?
The
This.
Yeah.
picture for Hale.
I was looking.
Oh, yes. Nice.
I think I actually Googled old man portraits, and
Yeah.
I found that picture, and I thought, wow,
Is this one of the days
that's
that was-
awesome. So then I just made it black and white, and boom.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, Jacob, why don't you make that phone call? It would probably just phone call to Washington D.C. I guess.
Yeah, well, I would, you know, I'd probably reach out to my lawyer
There you go.
and have my lawyer contact him, and that way there's a legal, you know, the lawyer basically speaking through my lawyer and have him give the contact information and then have the ambassador contact me. Tell him it's important.
Right,
You know.
right.
If he happens to be stateside, you know, he should come visit me in the hospital.
Okay. So among, you know, what other business you've been doing there, Ambassador, you know, you've been trying to track down Eusephus, and you have some leads that he's probably in Boston, but not much more than that. And you receive a memo from your secretary saying that a Jacob Crowninshield called, asking you to contact him. He is in a hospital in Montpelier, Vermont. It's regarding a Mr. Timo Winterbottom,
Yes.
who you recognize as the alias that Eusephus would be using.
Have I ever met with the Crown and Shields? Do I have a...
No, not necessarily. No, you know that the Crown and Shield is a, they're some of the upper crust, one of the more predominant families in Boston. But no, not specifically. You wouldn't know Jacob.
Okay.
See if I can soften up your picture a little bit here.
Where's he located right now, Sean?
Washington, D.C.
He's in D.C. Okay.
Yeah, he would be in D.C. So, I'm assuming that Dalaran would probably call the hospital, right?
Yes.
And get Jacob on the line. This should be an interesting conversation.
Is Jacob a doctor?
I'm a psychologist,
Like,
yeah.
Does he have a doctorate?
He's not an MD,
Okay.
but he, yeah.
Okay. So I'll call him up. Hello, Mr. Crowninshield.
Yes, this is Jacob Crowninshield. Who am I speaking with?
This is Hale Dalaran. Senator Hale. Well, no, I'm actually right. Okay, I'm not a senator.
Ambassador.
Ambassador Hale Dalaran from Washington D.C. I
You
was
could actually
calling.
hurt yourself
I
with that.
received a call from your lawyer.
Yes. There's been some
An incident.
activity regarding chemo. I think probably you should come to where I'm at so we can talk in person.
Is Mr. Winterbottom okay? Don't tell me. I'll be right down.
Thank you, Ambassador. I really appreciate you calling me back, and we'll be able to talk in person.
Yes, I'll be there as soon as I can. Good day, sir.
Good day, sir.
Sounds like somebody else got into the cocaine stash.
I quickly arrange a vehicle. At last, I've finally found somebody that knows where this man is.
Yeah, you and the other higher ups in the organization have been a little worried about Eustace getting pinched.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll see what's going on with that. So I arranged for a car to get to this hospital as soon as possible. See how far away. It is.
Taking a train there would probably be the best thing to do.
Oh, train, yes, right, train. Car to the train station then.
Okay.
Sean, if I can, I'll get my lawyer to send my send the will over to me so I can, sign it while I'm sitting there in the hospital.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and get that done, man.
And who are all the beneficiaries?
So Sparky's the first beneficiary,
Yeah.
and then Doctor,
Okay.
and then Edgar.
Okay.
Yeah. The crew.
Good move.
The people who know.
I've been waiting for you to do that.
The people who know.
So, Alex, just one thing before you actually get to Vermont. This picture you chose is not. I like the picture, but it's gonna be hard to make a token out of because it's cut so close.
Okay.
And the sides and stuff.
Okay.
Why don't we just have you arrive at Vermont and let me see if I can find something for you, and I'll run it by you before I.
Can't just make I mean, you can't just cut out the beard, just circle the face.
The thing is, are the sides of the picture are so closely cropped to the actual face that there's going to be some areas on both sides that are not going to look right. It's best to have, when you choose portraits for your characters, it's best to have their faces more centered in a larger sort of surrounding.
I can make it square. No, I can't. I deleted the picture after
Don't worry about it. I'll just zoom it in some more. It's all right.
Okay.
All right. So you arrive at the Montpellier train station, and you're greeted there by, a driver that you arranged to have pick you up, and you're driven to the hospital. And one of the nurses leads you up to Jacob's room, and he's all bandaged up. Half of his face is covered with a bandage. It looks like he's in pretty bad shape. It looks like he was probably attacked by a bear.
I have my Sean. I have my bar underneath my hospital bed, by the way, just in case.
Okay, yeah.
It's there. It's there.
Like Sparky snuck it in for you somehow.
My God, Mr. Crowninshield, are you all right? What happened?
Oh, attacked by a bear.
A bear?
You know how it is.
I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
You know how it is.
Well, did you get it back?
Did you get your vengeance against the vengeance bear?
No, not yet, but hopefully.
Well, good hunting, old chap.
Yeah, the Crown and Shields don't ever forget an offense.
Indeed.
Yeah.
No
I
good
say,
man
well,
does.
I've got some unfortunate news. Our good friend Eusephus is gone.
And my smile kind of fades.
Yeah, I'm like I'm crestfallen. I'm like, look, basically, Yusufus saved my life in South America. I basically go through the story without the supernatural parts about our adventure in South America, and then how when we, got back into Boston, we discovered this lodge. And through further investigation, we realized that they were involved in very, very evil practices. Murder, kidnapping, and
Sounds like you fell in
Yusufus.
quite the ring.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Yusufus perished.
Are we all
fighting.
here? Are we all here listening to this? Am I here there?
I
Yeah.
assume you're all there.
Yeah. So basically, I go through the story about, minus the supernatural.
It's gonna be a pretty short story without the supernatural.
Yeah, but I mean, basically, these guys are.
So you give them the gist that you guys were investigating this fraternal
Yeah.
order.
Whoa.
Okay.
And now they're basically it's on. They're after us. They killed Yusufus. They tried to kill me. They burnt the house down.
My God. Perhaps I could do something about this. This seems quite serious. This is. Are you?
Well, I know you're a friend of Yusufus. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's serious business, Ambassador. I know you have serious political connection. I've been given the high hat by the Pinkertons. Obviously, some people in the lodge have serious political connections. I'm not sure if you can find out exactly what's going on there. You might want to be careful. I will warn you. If you do come along, there could be dangers.
Do I know anything about the mayor?
No, not particularly.
I let him know that the mayor is definitely a member of the lodge. Obviously, there's people in political power that are being leveraged or are working on the behest of these people.
Well,
And we name the main suspects as far as Carl Stanford. We talk about the history of the family and what happened there in the 1700s, but we don't draw any direct, supernatural connection. Just that it's a family weirdness, right?
So,
Okay.
do the names Scott or Stanford stand out to me at all?
Nope.
Okay, but it certainly is odd that the mayor would be a part of this, right? Like, especially people like the police sergeant. Like, do you tell me if the police sergeant's dead? Do you say that, or is that also kind of exempt?
Yeah, we tell you the complete story minus the stuff that would blow your mind or make you think that we're insane, basically.
Yeah, they tell you that they were dealing with this corrupt police sergeant, Tom Terry.
He's dead.
He's dead. Yeah, by suicide. The
And
mayor.
their manor was burned down.
The manor was burned down. The mayor, Harvey Stanton. I mean, you would know.
I mean, we tell him how we
there's-
rescued Pumpkin.
Yeah,
You know,
my daughter, she was
in the cellar.
brutalized by these
brutalized. Yeah.
Kidnappers, murderers, and arsonists. This whole group and the mayor is involved, and they killed the police. This is well,
This is
under
madness.
normal circumstances, I'd say it's preposterous. But looking
Sounds
at
like
you
a
now,
conspiracy.
I've known you. I know you've seen a lot, Ambassador, in your travels and in your work.
Yes. Well, I do certainly know how widespread corruption like this could be, but murder is quite an allegation.
Well, especially against innocent civilians. I mean, we're not talking about people that are involved in business or
Right.
illegality or any of that kind of thing. These are innocents,
Yes.
right?
Kill for their morbid pleasure.
We all understand in business, anything can happen, but this is an innocent girl, and there's probably more instances of this that have happened.
Yeah, and in some ways too, Alex, I mean, the ambassador wouldn't be too surprised to hear of some of these details because, I mean, corruption and murder,
Well, usually it's about
and just
money.
criminality in general is pretty widespread, in Boston at this point. I mean, you're a part of some of that, so I mean, it's not too shocking. But what is shocking is well, not shocking, but is just it would make you kind of curious of like what their motives are. I mean, are these people just insane? It makes you kind of wonder, like you do get a sense like that maybe Jacob and these other guys, like there's some stuff they may not be telling you. It doesn't add up. I mean, are these guys bootleggers? Are they,
Well, running
heroin?
booze is all good fun, but when it comes to kidnapping and torturing people's daughters and burning down houses,
they're a crazy cult.
Well, there we go. Now it's out in the open.
They're a crazy cult. They're involved in sadistic, occult practices, and obviously they want control and power over people.
I see. So we're looking at something more akin to the Ku Klux Klan. Fanatics like that, then.
Yes, but exactly. Something like that.
This is grim news indeed.
Yes, dangerous people.
Well, I kind of like.
We've given as good as they've given. You know.
Well, I certainly offer my aid in any way that I can help. Anything that I can do to help in this situation, you have it. This is
excellent.
Preposterous.
Well, we certainly need the assistance and the help, and any, you just being here, and being with us and using your political power would be incredibly helpful.
You speak Greek, Hale?
This conversation's all happening at the hospital?
Yeah.
Yes, in the hospital room, yes.
And are we all there?
Seems like
Yes.
Okay.
You need to go get that stuff out of the safe. I tell Sparky.
Well, yes, is the visit of Hale the day after, or the day following the day of the drop off at the Happy Valley retreat? Brattlebush, Bramble, Berry retreat.
Yes, the haunted asylum. Yes.
Okay, so, well, I mean, I wouldn't mind having somebody along with me.
The ambassador, they don't know the ambassador.
Right, that's what I was saying. I'm gonna run down to Jacob's house.
Why doesn't the doctor stay with me, and you guys go down there?
Yes. See, let's see the damage of this cult.
Bring your double-barrel sawed-off shotgun, Tom, and sit next to me and read me books.
Yes, we'll peruse little nighttime storytelling.
Tom has the Necronomicon out.
I go to the library and get a Greek to English translation, and I start trying to translate into Greek.
Here we go. I got something for you. So Dr. Van Helsing starts reading.
Of such great powers or beings, there may be conceivably a survival of a hugely remote period when consciousness was manifested perhaps in shapes and forms long since withdrawn before the tide of advancing humanity. Forms of which poetry and legend alone have caught a flying memory and called them gods, monsters.
All right, you're freaking me out, Doctor.
Beings of all sorts.
Just relax and listen.
Gods, monsters. All right. So you guys travel to Boston. It is now late Sunday night, early Monday morning, June 23rd. So Jacob, you've been in the hospital for a few days now, almost. And you reach the site of the Crown and Shield Manor, and indeed, it has burned to the ground. Looks like a total loss.
Insurance, baby.
Oh yeah,
Are the police
absolutely.
involved, or is there like do not pass crime scene, or
No.
does nobody care anymore?
No. You know, you're pretty sure there's probably some kind of investigation going by law enforcement. If Knuckles was right in saying that they suspect arson. But no, I mean there aren't any police staking it out or anything. Um, you're able to kind of search through the rubble, and you find the entrance. You find the stairs going down to the basement, which have all been burned out. It would just kind of take a little doing to get down in there.
Get
But
Sparky.
Yeah.
Well,
you
that
do.
sounds like a trench I can crawl into. So I get busy.
Right. But you're able to kind of work your way down into the basement area.
Yeah, I'm sure we
And-
brought like a shovel and some stuff,
Yeah.
you know, because we knew we were going to be moving, you know, debris.
Yeah, it's a mess. I mean, you do have to actually, work your way through all of this wreckage and rubble, and
We gave
eventually
the ambassador Edgar shovel.
at your shovel. Okay. It's the shovel of destiny.
Right.
So eventually you find the safe. It's all blackened on the outside, and it looks like it's been kind of burnt up on the outside, but it looks like it's intact.
So I put my ear to it and listen to the lock fall into place, and then
Tumblers.
open it up and start throwing it into my sack.
Yeah, it seems to be functional. It looks like everything else everything inside seems to be intact.
Excellent.
Well, it seems that they didn't loot the place. Well, that's certainly pleasant.
That's why you have a safe, man. That's why you got the safe.
All right, so we with haste we get all that shit out of there and try to boogie out of there as quick as possible.
No problem.
Make sure you're not followed.
No problem.
Yeah, we're checking around to see what's going on.
Uh-huh.
There's nothing going on. It's like after midnight on a Sunday night, so there's really not much going on at all. And
Cool,
it doesn't
no
look like
shapes
anybody
flying
saw
by the
and
moon.
yeah, it doesn't look like anybody saw you going in or going out.
Excellent. Good job, guys. Good job.
Well, don't get too excited. We got to get back first. So phase one complete. So as soon as we get our stuff, get all that, we get back in the car and start trucking back.
Yeah, how
Unless,
long of a drive is this?
It's like 4.5 hours, I think.
That's probably
All right.
about right. Maybe a little bit more than that.
I'm gonna kind of start rifling through the stuff, seeing just kind of what kind of things were left in this all important safe. Just to see who I'm dealing with.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you can imagine. A lot of the more there's a lot of folders full of loose papers. There are some other books that appear to be like journals or handwritten notes, things like that. And a lot of it it looks like in general, there's a lot of sort of archaeological information in some of these papers, along with drawings of what appear to be like ancient, first you think maybe Egyptian, but it doesn't really look Egyptian. You're not really too familiar with it, but some very strange drawings of what appear to be totems or like you think maybe it's Native American stuff. You're not sure, but some pretty strange like archaeological or anthropological stuff. There is also a very old folio-sized book that's called The Nameless Cults. It looks well. It's actually not that old, but it's all black ink typeset stuff, and it looks like it has several chapters. And generally, just kind of looking through it, it looks like it's describing different kinds of cults all around the world.
Welcome to our world, Ambassador.
Yeah, and there are different kinds of beliefs and rituals and just general information.
Hell, are you talking about this stuff out loud since I'm driving? Like,
Yeah.
what the hell's in there?
Yeah. I did not know that the Crown and Shields were so keen on archaeological artifacts. This is quite interesting.
I think it's a recent interest by Jacob, if I had to guess.
Yes. There's probably actually some of Edgar Casey's stuff in there too, that he had been recording.
Mm.
And the medallions are in there.
Yes.
Well, the expeditionary notes of the whole Honduras would probably be in there as well, because
Most of them.
Percy's.
How good are the inside lamps of a 1924 auto? How much can we see?
We would just say that maybe the ambassador has a flashlight. You know, he's looking
right.
through this stuff as you guys are driving in the open night air. Yes, the medallions are there, and it's actually probably one of the most interesting things that you guys notice in this collection of papers and stuff. Are these golden medallions with these strange designs in them. They appear to be gold, solid gold. Each one of them has to probably be at least 6 ounces. Quite valuable.
I can see why.
You would know in today's market, you know, each one of them, just the gold alone, would be worth about $130 each.
I can see why Jacob wanted us to retrieve these.
Yeah, they
Indeed.
Quite valuable. And possibly may have some intrinsic, not only intrinsic value, but you know, they look like archaeological artifacts of some kind.
It seems strange to me that these arsonists would go and kill the butlers, but then they wouldn't loot the house so thoroughly as to miss this safe.
Well, it did sound to me, from what Jacob was saying, that these are mad cultists and bent on evil. They probably don't care much for material items, mainly just mayhem and chaos. So this would tend to lend itself towards that. I think that sounds. It makes me more convicted on our approach toward these ghouls.
You find some notes, and it's some pretty disturbing shit. You guys probably wouldn't know who wrote this stuff, but it was Edgar Casey had recorded some of this stuff from some of the conversations that he had with Carl Stanford, and also probably maybe some of the other more obscure stuff that he had found in nameless cults.
Mm-hmm.
And some of this will be repeated, but I'll just repeat it for posterity. Casey writes, and the ambassador is reading this. Maybe he's reading it aloud to Sparky as well.
That's awesome.
No words in our language can describe them. They are symbolized vaguely in the myth of the fall and in an obscene form which is occasionally found engraved on ancient tablets. The Greeks had a name for them which veiled their essence. The tree, the snake, and the apple. These are vague symbols of a most awful mystery. What do we know of the world and universe about us? Our means of receiving impressions are absurdly few, and our notions of surrounding objects infinitely narrow. We see things only as we are constructed to see them, and can gain no idea of their absolute nature. With 5 feeble senses, we pretend to comprehend the boundlessly complex cosmos, yet other beings with wider, stronger, or different range of senses might not only see very differently the things that we see, but might see and study whole worlds of matter, energy, and life which lie close at hand, yet can never be detected with the senses we have. Blah, 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 blah. And then here's something.
Oh my God.
And then you guys, and then it goes into this thing. It says, Yog Sothoth knows the gate. Yog Sothoth is the gate. Yog Sothoth is the key and the guardian of the gate. Past, present, future, all are one in Yog Sothoth. He knows where the old ones broke through of old, and where they shall break through again. He knows where they have trod earth's fields, and where they still tread them, and why no one can behold them as they tread. Blah, 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 blah. And you guys are kind of like, the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, it's quite a daunting philosophical take on things, I must say.
Yeah, it starts talking about space-time continuums, something about crustaceans of Yuggoth.
Well, I did drop Edgar off at the retreat earlier this week, so maybe this is just the rantings of someone who's out to lunch maybe a bit. Let's chalk it up to that.
It ends, some of Casey's rantings, it ends with the other gods, the gods of the outer hells that guard the feeble gods of earth. Look and see the vengeance of the infinite abyss, that cursed, that damnable pit. Merciful gods of earth, I am falling into the sky.
I think that's what he said to me right before we closed the door on his padded cell.
It does sound similar. So yeah, there's some pretty weird and wild shit in these papers. The book especially has some very almost indecipherable stuff going on in them.
Okay, well, it's about that time that we pull up to the hospital, kind of spooked and freaked out.
Mm-hmm.
And
and of course the accounts of Eustaphus Braun, you know, with his writings, you probably came across. It's kind of a long drive. So that whole story of Eustaphus Braun telling the story about the Honduras and stuff. So, you know, you two driving would realize that indeed Jacob probably didn't tell you guys the full story, because you're looking at, you know, the stuff that Eustaphus Braun wrote, and it's pretty weird. You're like, are these guys on drugs or
Right.
They must be. There's something wrong with
did you know this man, Eustaphus Braun? Hell.
Yes, you could say that we were associates. Although I didn't know this bit about his uncle. Nor
Sounds
these
like
bits
a
about the
colorful
dark
character.
child.
Yes, that happy moment weren't to last, for the hell-spawned dark child showed herself to my eyes once again, he writes.
Dark child.
Yes.
Oh man, I'm gonna miss that girl. Sweet, sweet dark child. Hey, can we take 5 here, guys?
Yeah, let's take 5.
All right.
Okay. So much fun, man. So much fun, Sean. Thank you, dude. Thank you, dude. Thank you, dude.
Oh, thank you for playing, man. I've been wanting you guys to play this
God.
for years.
Dude, so much fun. Yeah, and I know it definitely takes effort, dude, to GM. You know.
I missed what you said there, Lee. What'd you say?
I said I definitely know it takes a lot of effort to prepare and GM, man. So I really think I appreciate it.
It can, but you know, the key really is to, before you start a campaign, is just really like fully understanding like all of the different possibilities and stuff. At least from, because I use printed material for the most part. I don't make too much shit up. The stuff that I do make up is usually during play when I'm kind of forced to.
Yeah.
Sure, but as far as preparation, a lot of the preparation was done already before we even started Shadows of Yog-Sothoth.
Yeah. Well, like you said, knowing the material is key, but then having the ability to riff on it and flip it as you need to while people are playing is the hard part. You do that really well.
Thank you. Well, that's the fun part, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the best part, man.
It really is.
And that there's dire consequences. That helps too.
Yeah. And you know, through the years, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but you know, raising my kids and stuff, there came a point about, I don't know, about 7, maybe 8 years ago, when Alex was in high school, where I started getting these guys into D&D,
Right.
We played D&D every weekend for like, 2 years straight.
Wow.
So I've had a lot of time to kind of hone the whole art of game mastering and stuff like that with playing all these games with these guys, and they really got into it. Now they're off doing their own thing. They've got like 3 different D&D games going on their own.
Well, you definitely have kept up your chops, man. But you were always a really good game master, anyways. I mean, I really always enjoyed playing your adventures, man.
Yeah, I always
You
enjoyed
know.
playing with you guys too, man. I remember a lot of that shit. We had some really memorable games, and
Yeah,
we had a lot of fun back in the day, dude. We really did.
dude. It ruined me. It ruined me, dude. Because anytime I would try to play with other people,
Yeah.
disappointing. That's all I'm gonna say.
No, I know exactly what you're saying.
Occasionally, occasionally outside of the crew, you'd find some good stuff. But yeah, it's been hard to find that kind of quality.
I agree. Every time I've tried to go outside, it's pitiful. It's miserable.
Yeah, it is.
You play D&D and your first level, and you have a +5 Holy Avenger and Demogorgon. It's like, wait, what? The first level, what's going on? It's just like, they don't know what the heck they're doing.
That's the kind of shit that I deal with. I mean, like,
yeah, there's no balance. There's no balance in the game. There's no balance, man.
I mean, like playing with Alex's friends. At first, it was great because they were so new to it, and everything was just kind of very open and unexplored, and they fucking loved it. Because I ran to keep on the Borderlands, Tom. That's what I ran.
Right? Yes.
The old Gary Gygax stuff is what I was running back.
It's the best stuff.
Best stuff, man.
Those were still the best years of the game.
That's what I've been doing with my boys and their whole crew. We've been playing now for 4 years now, and just like you, they say they've gone off and started their own stuff, and they're using first edition, and we're going through the demi web pits. Well, they don't know it yet. They're going through the giants first, but they're heading into the demi web pits. So
awesome, yeah. But I don't know. I got kind of burnt out on D&D after a little while, just because we played it so damn much.
Right.
I mean, we did switch to 5th edition because we thought it was kind of cool. It was like something kind of different to do.
Yep.
I really liked 5th edition. I still do, kind of. But I was just talking to Alex the other day. I was like, dude, you do realize that AD&D is far superior to 5th edition. He's like, what? And I explained it to him. I was like, it's because of all of the. It's because, listen, 5th edition D&D is like comic book D&D. It's like superheroes and supervillains, where AD&D is like more like a sort of simulation in a high fantasy world.
Right. Well, like I'm totally on board with that, and I get that, and I see where you're coming from. I especially understand.
Hey guys, I just had a bunch of people show up here. I'll be right back. I'm sorry, there's like a ton of people coming in for Thanksgiving. I'll be right back.
That's cool. I see where you're coming from, and I mean, power creep is a very real thing in further editions of D&D. I just didn't have the opportunity to play, AD&D or even like 2nd and 3rd edition, because it seems like as soon as we got into that, we played that for quite a while, and then we skipped around to various editions, and then it was just 5th edition,
4th edition at all. We avoided that shit like the plague.
And now, we didn't play 4th edition at all. But my friends now, they all play 5th edition, and exclusively 5th edition. And I think to myself, like, dude, I really want to play these, like, Dad regaled me with all of these tales of you guys playing Top Secret and Shadowrun and Call of Cthulhu back in the day, and I'm thinking to myself, that's what I want to do. I wish I could explore those other systems and those other worlds, but they're also hooked on 5th edition D&D, and like, if I multi-class with this Unearthed Arcana thing and this, and I combine them and I can use these and these feats, they go way in depth into 5th edition, and I'm still just thinking, Fate would be a really great game, especially if you played it in a Shadowrun setting. Like, we should try that sometime. But no, it's 5th edition all the time.
Yeah, but nothing in all my years compares to Call of Cthulhu, man. It is the greatest role-playing game of all time.
On that, I can agree.
In my opinion.
I agree 100%, man. It's definitely the most fun I've had, and that's saying a lot because first edition AD&D is superb. It's superb, but my best gaming experience is definitely in Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, and I even with the same group, this whole D&D group and everything, I have run at least 5, maybe 6 games of Call of Cthulhu for these guys, like kind of one shot, one evening sessions, and those are some of the best, most fun games we've had. And some of those guys actually agree. These are memorable. Sometimes they come up like, "Hey man, remember that one thing we did with Call of Cthulhu? That was so fucking cool." Uncle
Right.
Timothy's, but I still can't get him to play it. You know,
Yeah, like-
even though it was just so fun and so awesome.
Remember when Ben's character got devoured by that giant sow in the backyard of the cannibals?
Yeah, the cannibal pig. Yeah, that was awesome. Or the flesh-eating pig. Yeah, and actually,
Awesome.
you know, as time goes on, you guys, as we keep playing Call of Cthulhu here, you know, we're going to go through this campaign, the completion. But I would also like to try at some point some sort of different. I know 1920s, it's my favorite and stuff, but there's some other things that I would like to try. There's some material that I have that just would be awesome and mind blowing to play. There are some sort of like some shorter scenarios that are just so good.
Still like modern day
Just
stuff,
so
or
fun.
still
Some of it's
1920s?
some of it's modern day.
Medieval?
I have some stuff that's medieval.
Oh, that would be cool as hell, man.
Yeah.
But I do have some modern day scenarios and campaigns. Actually, I have whole campaigns that are modern day that are fucking superb. Also, I have a collection of more or less non-mythos sort of campaigns that are based the Blood Brothers books. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those. They came out with Chaosium came out with these books that are sort of non-mythos scenarios based on film genres that are really, really, really good. But you know, we can explore this somewhere down the line. I'd also maybe like to do some more Dreamland stuff.
Yeah, totally, man. I'm definitely into that.
Even like Delta Green might be fun. I've never actually had an opportunity to play, but
Delta Green, what's that?
Delta Green is modern day, where the player characters are part of sort of a black ops.
It's a government.
Yeah,
okay.
super elite soldiers that go out and fight the
Right.
mythos.
Because there was because I think Delta Green was the name of Titus Crow's whole crew and like, you know, you're really good with these languages and you're really knowledgeable about this and you're a fighter. Let's get you all together and take down this entity from outer space.
It's basically like Call of Cthulhu in more of sort of a top secret kind of setting, you know.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds like a blast.
But it's going to take us a while to get.
I watched some guys do like a Viking era.
That would be awesome, dude.
But yeah, I've got some really cool things in the works for you guys.
It's pretty awesome.
Here. So anyway, you guys arrive back at the Montpellier Hospital with all of your new knowledge about the misadventures of.
Is everybody there still?
Jacob Chronoshield and his crew.
Oh yeah, I've been telling Jacob, you know, nighttime stories, bedtime stories, translating out of Greek.
Yeah,
I'm gently caressing my bar underneath my cover. I'm like, yes.
Close the door.
Yeah, we can pretend a little bit that Van Helsing may be able to get some glean of information out of the Necronomicon knowing Latin.
I don't think I'm hearing everybody. I'm going to reload,
Greek
guys.
and Latin, there's a pretty big difference, actually.
Who can he not hear? Okay, well, there we go.
But I don't know if you can. I actually put. I added the Necronomicon to your books and spells.
Kyle, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
And
Tom, can you?
I can, yes.
And
in
Lee?
note.
Yep, all good.
In note, the first thing I wrote in the Necronomicon entry is use at your own risk. And just for your information, we're looking at an average of 68 weeks to study and comprehend the Necronomicon, and 136 hours to skim it. This book is over 800 pages.
It looks to me like Willem the 16th was a math wizard.
And notice in the picture there, see what the last word is on the second page?
Pastor.
Pastor? Oh, God.
I just noticed that today. So cool. So yeah, you guys get back to the hospital with all the goods. And these guys come in and they've got like these suitcases and shit.
Jacob is relieved.
Yeah. All the medallions are there. The book is there. All the notes and journals, notebooks, all that stuff is present.
Now, Mr. Crowninshield, I hope you don't mind me prying, but what the hell is this?
I'm going to politely ask, like, what the fuck is this shit?
Look, we've had some harrowing adventures. It's hard to tell you exactly everything that's gone on. You know?
Is everything this we read from this Eusephus true?
Well, I only know that he vanished into the Honduras on some fool journey, but
Well, Ambassador, you know Eusephus, Ambassador.
Yes.
You know what kind of man he was, right?
yes, and the contacts that he had, yes, of course.
Yes. So I have to say, I would probably have to lead some credence to his writings.
It's just so.
It seems impossible.
Oh,
just
how
so
that thing
bizarre.
howled like a werebeast being tore at with silvery blades. More of that black ooze that came off it into the cottage. This time it splashed on us, warm and thick like oil. What lost its usefulness in the smell, I have no words.
Spirits and
That's just one passage we read.
An
spirits.
abomination to our world and nature.
Just
Yes.
understand that these people that are involved with the lodge are directly involved in such activities.
Now, to be clear, Mr. Crowninshield, are you telling me that this lodge is directly dealing in extraterrestrial life?
No, let's just say they're involved in occult activities.
I frown and I look at Eusephus's report, his accounts, and I say, well, let me ask: Did Eusephus show any signs of madness before passing? Because surely these are the ravings of a madman. This
Well,
can't all be.
Well, we've all
True.
suffered serious shocks to the psyche, Ambassador.
Well, I can imagine.
And I look at him with my eye.
My God!
I'm just glad you guys were able to get these items and bring them back safely, and now you're all here, so I feel a little safer here in my bed. Feel a little exposed.
Well, anything we can do to comfort you, Jacob.
Well, yeah, just be here.
Tell us a tale. You read Greek, right?
I do.
Why don't you read us a passage?
I'm like, hold on, doctor.
And
Hold
so
on,
the
doctor.
world went black, and
Hold
the
on,
sun
doctor.
did
I'm like,
fall.
stop.
Yeah, Alex, Van Helsing's got this tome. It's a tome. It's like this huge book. It's it's like this thick, and it looks ancient. It looks hundreds of years old.
A hospital is no place for a book like that.
Van Helsing cradles it a little tighter.
Pull it closer.
Precious.
He pulls it in a little closer. I'm like, well, gentlemen, I think the next steps are possibly in New York, correct?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I don't think Boston's
to go meet with David Lee Roth.
Yeah.
So the question is, I'm still pretty injured. We do have some options here, but I think going to New York and trying to extract vengeance on this guy is probably the best.
Well, in the interest of game time, and I mean, do we have the option to convalesce and study these books and learn more spells while you're healing, so that when we go to New York, we're that much more prepared? I mean, can we like fast forward 6 months or whatever?
Are you sane enough?
6 months, I don't think is. I
or,
think
or,
two.
or whatever. I'm making up whatever the time period.
Well, I
whatever.
think 2 weeks
No, it's
because
a valid question.
because of the healing rate. I think 2 weeks would probably have me close to being mobile at least.
Yeah, but will we have
You
read all the books
guys-
we want to by then?
No
But
way.
Is Dr.
No.
Van Helsing and Crown and Shield, are they sane enough to take that kind of reading?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I'm saying, but I'm not reading the Necronomicon.
Oh, I am.
And that's how Well, I will remind you that, the writer of the Necronomicon was swallowed up by an endless void of evil, so, you might not want to...
You've
Well,
read that, Dale?
First step will be just skim it. How long does it take to skim it?
Well, see, there is a problem though here,
168
Tommy,
hours.
because
Yeah, it's Greek.
yeah, you don't read Greek.
Right.
I would allow, since Dalaran knows Greek, he would be able to read it to some extent.
You want me to
I would
translate it?
allow him and others to skim it at least. But in order to fully comprehend it, you're going to have to either have it translated. I mean, apart from Dalaran, who would be able to read it,
Right.
you're going to either have to translate it or have somebody who knows Greek like Dalaran to do
read
it.
it
So
to
I
us.
think I would allow, like, multiple people to read it as long as somebody knows Greek, and so you have somebody who knows Greek.
I can always
The only thing is though too, Tom, is you were reading Nameless Cults as well. You've been reading that for about a week now.
Right.
You would probably have to put that on hold if you wanted to read the Necronomicon.
I would definitely put that on hold. This book has perked my curiosity.
Well, I could
Generally,
always
to read a book, we're looking at least like 6 hours a day spending, to read it.
Hey, my daughter has been saved. She's in this institution being healed.
But look at Dr. Van Helsing's eyes. I think he could read 2 books at once.
Yeah, you know what? There should be some kind of role for that.
Multitasking.
Yeah, with the crazy eyes and the cocaine, maybe he can read 2 books at once.
There you go.
ocular ambidexterity.
Yeah, there is actually a special rule.
He's going to go all Hunter S. Thompson on it, man.
It's called feverish study,
Oh, I like the sound of that.
where you can where you can actually read it in a much shorter period of time. So, like I said, generally it takes 6 hours a day, reading consistently for the normal rules or whatever. But if you use feverish study, which is an optional rule, which I would allow you to use, we're talking like 12 hours a day. But there are consequences to that.
Like
Horrible, horrible consequences.
Well, just like physical consequences, really, just from exhaustion and things like that. I'd have to
like
look at it.
hit point related?
No, not necessarily. I think.
I don't know if there's an exhaustion.
What is that?
Magic point?
I bet I can just Google it here.
Anything but sanity, I'm all in. If it's sanity related, I got to think about it. But if it's anything but sanity, heck yeah,
I
man.
think if you're
Feverish
reading
study.
the Necronomicon, you've got to be willing to trade some sanity, buddy.
No, I agree. I'm already expecting to lose sanity by reading it. What I'm saying is that
I read the
feverish,
Necronomicon. Did it affect you anyway? No, not really.
No, I'm worried. Will the feverish
I just
study
don't see
make it
that ever
worse?
being said ever.
I don't want, I don't want
Bit
the
about the
feverish
sun
study to make
going
it
out.
worse.
That's a little
is-
weird.
It says feverish study, an amusing optional rule. With this rule, double the speed with which a character can read or skim a book or other text. Also, double the character's length of study per day. Each day, a feverish study lasts for 12 uninterrupted hours. In effect, the character is able to accomplish 4 times normal work each day. And on the second day, and each day thereafter, roll a d100 with a result of power equal to power times 3 or less. The character shows the will power to continue his or her frenzied study for another day. The power roll is missed. That study is interrupted, but the scholar now needs a daily sanity roll
Uh-oh.
If the sanity roll fails, the character loses 1 if you succeed and 1d3 if you don't. So yeah, it does have to do with sanity. But once you've lost 5 sanity points this way, you become obsessive about the text being worked on. The obsession deepens every day. For each day after the loss of 5 sanity points, you have to roll another d100, Constitution times 3 or less, or lose 1d3 minus 1 hit points to the physical rigors of study. But, of course, healing is factored into that. The face thins, the eyes darken and intensify, trembling and hesitations can be seen. He or she finds it impossible to converse or relax. The decline can be rapid, and one can go mad or die because of this obsession. Let us hope that faithful friends intervene before it's too late. Once the character is physically denied the ability for fever study, sleep comes soon and recovery follows. So maybe we can find some middle ground there as far as the fever study rule, but generally, according to my math, the Necronomicon is going to take 5 whole days just to skim.
Okay.
And now when you skim it, you'll have some sanity loss, but you will have a general understanding of what and if it contains any spells and what they are.
I think skimming is necessary because we're going to need these spells for what's coming next. So,
Right.
So is the ambassador going to assist?
Oh,
Right.
yes, like I said, anything for Jacob right now. Like,
So, well, just keep in mind
can
the
Sparky sit with them?
Mm-hmm. I'll allow that.
Group study session, boys.
yeah,
So
man.
it's basically us in my private hospital room, me with my bar in my lap, and these guys crouched around this ancient book.
My double-barreled shotgun sitting on my lap and my 3 sticks of remaining dynamite on my chest.
We have we have the shield there too. By the
Oh,
way.
absolutely.
And
In the doorway.
Anytime somebody like knocks on the door, we all look at them at the same time. It's not weird.
All right, Necronomicon,
I still suggest that we switch hospitals frequently.
skim.
I like your idea, Tom, of using spells against these people.
Well, I think
I think that's the only way, man.
Yeah.
Well, when I write in here, use at your own risk. I mean, there is serious risk doing this, folks.
Yeah, well, we're all in.
You only have so many sanity points. Speaking of which, you know what? Let's see, Jacob, you know what? I just realized something. Like, Jacob, you're kind of like the sole survivor of the whole Honduras expedition, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Like you've been through the fucking ringer.
Yep.
And you've retained your sanity. Are you down any sanity points right now?
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm down a couple, but not bad. I've rolled really well with my sanity. That's the one rolls that I've been really good with, man. I've nailed all my sanity rolls.
Dude, you're at 68 of 70.
Yep.
That's nuts.
He's made literally he's made almost every sanity roll.
Yeah, I nailed them.
Willful dude.
Dude, yes, the crown and shields have been offended. I'm on it.
Well, he's also a clinically trained psychoanalyst and psychologist too.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, and I was in World War I as well. So
he's got a will of steel. So yeah,
he also has a great stamp collection. Not related.
All right. So it takes 5 weeks to skim. Or I'm sorry, 5 days, 136 hours, which is I think roughly 5 days. So, as I said, after skimming this, you're going to have a general knowledge of what the book contains and if it contains any spells and what those are. So let's look at this for a second. It's amazing how many different versions and partial versions of the Necronomicon there are. I have this awesome book right here. It's the Keeper's Companion. And it's got like detailed, all the details of the Forbidden Tomes in here, which is awesome. I always recommend this. Like if I go to the Call of Cthulhu Reddit, and there's always people in there like, I'm just starting Call of Cthulhu. What do I need? I say, get this book because it's awesome. All right, so Greek, the Greek translation, 950 AD. Okay, I am going to need.
I'd say that's the second most rare copy, man.
It is actually.
I'd say it's the most second rare to the original. You know, that's a very, very rare copy, man, to have that.
Yeah, I mean, as general knowledge of player, character knowledge, investigator knowledge, you guys really wouldn't know that, but indeed that is true. The Greek translations, at least the handwritten Greek translations by Philetus, were thought to be lost. You guys possess a very, very rare book indeed. It could be the only one of its kind.
That's so awesome, man. That is so awesome.
Yep.
You know, I mean, in 1501, and you guys found this out from Armitage. In 1501, it was printed by an Italian printer. It was a black letter copy, you know, like an actual printed copy of it, but it lacked most of El Azrad's charts and tables, which is critical when you know, we're looking at what types of spells and stuff are in here. So I need each of you that are skimming this, all three of you, to roll a d10.
Sean, from my hospital bed, I do have a syringe filled with morphine
Yeah.
in it, just in my palm. I'm watching these guys. I'm watching these guys carefully with my pipe in my other hand, syringe in one.
Okay.
3.
Make note of that. Van Helsing, you lose 3 sanity points.
Oh my God.
Oh, good roll. Sparky loses 2.
And I lose 8.
Uh-oh. What? That's appropriate. Dalaran's first contact with the mythos drives him insane.
Yeah, like the gravity of the situation. Like, oh my God, it's real.
I'll be right back, guys.
It's more than real. Well, let's do that first. Let's see what kind of consequences we have here for the old ambassador. Give me an idea check for Ambassador Dalaran.
Cool idea check related to the Necronomicon.
You fail it.
Well, I certainly made it. So
You
what's
didn't
my
want to do
idea about the Necronomicon?
Not to read it.
Whenever you take at least 5 sanity points, if you take 5 sanity points or more, you're dealing with a bout of insanity in some way, shape, or form. So you're allowed to have this idea check, and what that does is it determines on whether or not your character really kind of fully comprehends or links what he's learning from this, or witnessing or experiencing to reality or not.
Mm-hmm.
And if you fail your idea roll, generally your mind is sort of insulating you from the real effect of, you know, what you're witnessing or reading or learning or whatever. But you are basically fully comprehending what you're learning here and what you're witnessing within this terrible, terrible book. So now,
like I said, morphine shot ready.
yeah, it might come in handy here.
Yep.
So now I need you to roll. Roll a d10 again, Alex.
Oh boy.
What a miss.
I'm going under a bout of insanity.
You mean reading the Necronomicon to 2 people while you're translating it?
Yep.
Freaked your ass out.
Has an effect on you? Who knows?
No.
Roll again, please.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Or actually, yeah, go ahead and roll.
Oh, good.
Welcome to the club, Ambassador.
Oh, crap.
Perfect. Roll a D100.
Oh God! I don't like the sound of this many tables.
I don't either, dude.
You
I'm
are
using the 7th edition stuff. It was
afraid
really good.
of the.
Did you see that
94.
die?
Yeah, I know,
did.
that was crazy. It was the giant die for a
Yeah,
second.
that one like tipped up big time.
Off the table.
94.
Okay. Roll one more D10.
Jesus.
This is going to be interesting.
Oh my god.
I shoot
Oh my goodness.
Oh, dude.
So we've got to drive somebody else to the retreat tonight.
already.
So
I don't have a backup.
Crazy. This is crazy. I don't know how we're going to do this. I'm going to need your help on this, Alex. And maybe you guys can help us with this too.
Oh, don't worry. I'm creative.
During skimming, you haven't fully skimmed it yet because you're depending on Dalaran to tell you what this is doing. You guys are all kind of sitting around, and Dalaran's kind of taking notes too as he's reading this. But you get to this one part. Let me see here. You get to this one part when it starts talking about these elder gods, and oh shit, hold on, I'm sorry, I need to bring this up real quick. Do this right to give you guys the right flavor.
the Sothoth flavor.
Yeah.
For the music. That's not good.
Where is it?
Do the music.
Here we go. Let's see if I can find something totally insane and crazy here. Oh, good. I have it open to the page here. So, this book begins talking about these elder gods and these ancient ones. And there's a section in here. There's things. It starts talking about how to beware of these cults of death. And it mentions this cult of the dog and cult of the dragon, cult of the goat, for they are worshippers of the ancient ones, and forever try to let them in, for they have a formula of which it is unlawful to speak. And these cults are not strong, save at their seasons, when the heavens open up to them and unto their race. And there shall forever be war between us and the race of Draconis, for the race of Draconis was ever powerful in ancient times, when the first temples were built, and they were drawn, and they drew down much strength from the stars. But now they are wanderers of the wastelands, and dwell in caves and in deserts, and in all lonely places where they have set up stones. As these I have seen in my journeys through these areas where the ancient cults once flourished, and where now is only sadness and desolation. And I have seen them in their rites, and the awful things they call forth from the lands beyond time. I have seen the signs carved upon their stones, their altars. I have seen the sign of Cthulhu, and Yog-Sothoth, and Shub-Nidrach, and Hastur, and Azathoth, and similarly of the awful offspring of the goat, and the terrible musics of their race. And I have seen the blood spilt upon the stone. I have seen that stone struck with a sword, and have seen the stone raise up and the serpent crawl forth, and blah, blah, blah. It goes into all this kind of crazy shit. But then it starts, and then it begins to show these woodcut drawings, these art pieces of just like horrific blood sacrifices and beheadings and this crazy shit. And I have seen them turn into many strange kinds of beasts as they gathered in their appointed places. the temples of all, whereupon horns grew from the heads that had not horns, and teeth from mouths that had not such teeth, and hands became as the talons of eagles, or the claws of dogs that roam the desert areas, mad and howling, like unto those who even now call my name outside this room. I cry laments, but no one hears me. I am overwhelmed with horror. I cannot see. Gods, do not cast thy servant down. Essentially, what Dalaran is going to suffer from at this point, temporarily and going forward, is theomania, a belief that he or she is a god. And how that translates is
Senator God.
just sort of the language that is used in this book, and its sort of matter of factness, and the drawings and descriptions that are
Oh
in
my
the
god,
book.
dude. What if I see myself in a woodcut? Of like one of the pharaohs or like one of the god kings that they're worshipping.
There you go. Maybe you see something that strikes you as very personal, perhaps from your past, or not even necessarily yourself, but a family member.
Right.
So for a short time, during this skimming, at some point, say on the third day, you begin suffering from this theomania, and you begin basically getting these delusions of grandeur. How that translates, I'm really not quite sure. But going forward, at least for some time here, Alex, you're going to be suffering from this mania. You'll pick
Okay.
this up. It's not permanent. It's temporary.
Alright.
But that, but what we'll say is, how about we just have some kind of very strange thing happen where, while you guys are sitting, maybe you guys have like a desk brought into the room or something. You're all sitting around this desk, and as you're studying it, maybe Dollar kind of, stops reading, and you guys are like, what's the matter, Ambassador? What's the matter? And he gets this kind of crazy look, and he begins jotting down something in Greek on these papers and stuff, and he begins telling you that that this book, actually, that he feels like this is what he's been waiting for all of his life, because he's known ever since he was a child, that he was from divine blood, from ancient times, and that he is the son of pharaohs and kings. Yeah,
I'm like I
am descended from Gilgamesh, he says, or some
I look
crazy
down
shit.
at like the page and I point to like the god king pharaoh on one of the wood carvings, and I say, don't you see these facial features here, the jawline, look at it.
So like the acid head warrior looking down at the Necronomicon, saying, "Feels like somebody walked over my grave."
Right. He starts ranting and raving, and Jacob, you kind of get up out of your bed and hit him with the morphine.
Do you see the wide forehead? Do you see it? It's just me.
I've seen this before.
Like, maybe it's not even that I feel like that my bloodline was of the gods, but like I'm reborn, right? Like I think that this recurring figure in the book, this thing that they're worshipping, like I am that. That is me.
The math wizard we saw on that one page.
Right. Yeah. These men bowed to me. I remember. I can hear it. I can hear their chants.
Yeah, it comes past, maybe that bout comes with, like I said, it has to do with the book too, Alex. You feel like you were destined to find this book, like this book was brought to you for a reason. And in the book itself, it says, "Write the book thou keepest well and clearly, and when it is time for thee to go out, as it is my time now, it will pass into the hands of those who may have the best use of it, and who are faithful servants of the elder gods, and wilt swear eternal warfare against the rebellious demons who would destroy the civilizations of man. And if thou knowest the names of they who would harm thee, write them upon figures of wax, made in their image, upon which you will make a curse and melt them in the cauldron you have set up within the mandal of protection. And the watcher will carry the curse to them for whom it was uttered, and they will die." So you feel
I
like
remember holding the
wax
wax figurine of myself.
in a way, you have gotten far enough along to, realize like this book is going to bring you to your destiny. It's going to make you a god, basically.
So let me ask you this, not to be totally heartless, but so he's totally down with keeping on translating, right?
Yeah, he's down with it.
Okay.
Excellent. There you go.
Even more so now.
Excellent.
All right.
Yo,
Okay,
Lord,
God.
load us another apple juice along with some more rice pudding.
Show us your godlike abilities.
Keep
Translating.
All right. So theomania. So just every once in a while, you have these delusions of grandeur where you're a god. There's no doubt in your mind. You're a god. All right. Benefits. There is some, in Van Helsing especially, having followed the reading, you would be aware after having studied nameless cults for some time and known that these guys had studied nameless cults and had found this magic within these books. You have witnessed the magic of the elder sign, at the very least. This book also contains magic. And specifically, and I'm not going to beat around the bush here and give you guys any kind of nebulous names for these spells, because they are explicit in the Necronomicon. They tell you exactly what these spells do.
Kill man. Kills people.
And I'll list these out, or Alex, if you want to write these down.
Yes.
Use this. Use the Necronomicon.
Okay.
And hit edit, and if you want to, it's pretty long.
I can't
list.
edit it. It's beyond my scope of power, despite the fact that I have godly origins. That's one thing that I cannot do.
Well, there you go. Now you're a god. You can edit it.
Right. Okay. Cool.
You guys should find this interesting.
All right.
This list includes Call Azathoth.
Holy shit.
Call Cthulhu.
Oh boy.
Call Haster. Call Neogtha.
Wow.
Call Shub-Niggurath.
My brothers.
Call Yog-Sothoth. Contact Ghoul.
Contact Ghoul.
Contact Sand Dweller.
Sand Dweller. That was my attempt to destroy Sand Dweller.
That's
now
so racist. No.
Now note all of those call spells I've given you so far, except for Call Azathoth, those are all great old ones, as delineated in the Necronomicon.
Yes, of course.
Cthulhu,
of course.
Caster, Neogtha, except Shub-Niggurath isn't Elder God or Outer God. Contact Nyarlathotep. Now there is a difference between call and contact. Okay. All those previous ones were contact spells, except for I'm sorry. Yeah, those are all call/dismiss.
Call/dismiss?
Yes, all of those were call/dismiss. Call/dismiss. Azathoth,
Like a Like a phone call? I can call and hang up on them, dismiss them?
Nope, because they'd also list contact. So
No, Tom, it's actually calling them to you under
Yeah.
the right conditions, of
Yeah,
course.
but the dismiss part of the spell is probably the part that we want to learn the best.
That's what I'm curious about. Right, the dismiss
That's
part.
that's
Yes,
that's
yes.
the part we want to concentrate on. The dispel part.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
destroy the dismissed. Oh,
Okay.
But the Nyarlathotep one is contact. Nyarlathotep.
yeah, he's
Now.
too big a deal.
Now the fun ones, okay?
I don't know if you know or not, but I'm a really big deal.
Dominate.
Oh, what?
Dominate.
Dominate.
Here are the spells that we can use
Great.
against these fuckers.
Yeah.
Dread
Dom-
Curse of Azathoth.
What is it?
Dread
Dread
Curse of
Azathoth.
Azathoth.
As a Thoth or as a Thog?
Azathoth. Dust of Suleiman. Suleiman.
Suleiman.
Dust of.
Suleiman.
Elder sign.
Hmm.
Powder of
Oh,
Ibn
is it good?
Ghazi.
Woo!
Oh!
Wait, what was that one?
Powder of Ibn
Powder
Ghazi.
of
Ibn Ghazi. We need that for the elder sign.
Resurrection.
Wow.
The full spell. This time.
Oh, so maybe we can get Yusufus back.
You need a diamond worth at least 25,000 gold pieces, yada yada yada.
Well, you'd have to collect every speck of every ash that he's currently inhabiting. Shriveling.
What? Shriveling?
Shriveling.
Classic.
Is that like shrinkage?
Terrible.
I was gonna say,
No.
like at the dip of a
No, I
ice
think
That's some sort of
It's not a
attack spell,
pod.
man.
I think it's more akin to like turning people into mummies. Like you shrivel from the inside out. Like
Yeah.
you age rapidly and die.
It
That's our
kills
kill
you,
man
yes.
spell.
Okay.
That's your kill man spell. One of them, yes. Summon, bind, buy a key.
Ooh, I like that. Summon and
Summon,
bind.
bind, fire vampire.
Oh, I like this. Summon and bind. I could use a vampire at my side.
Summon Servitor of the Outer Gods.
Oh, dude.
That's nothing to do that right there. The Servitor of the Outer Gods.
Of which I
No joke,
begin
man.
immediately. No, I don't. Wouldn't that
And
be
these are
appropriate?
these are summon and bind spells. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Except for
summon,
it was,
bind, buy a key. Summon, bind, fire vampire. Summon, bind, Servitor of
Okay.
the Outer Gods.
good. Yes.
We know all these?
No. You just know that
Okay.
they are present in the Necronomicon. You're going to have to read and study the Necronomicon over a period of months in
Okay.
order to have the option to actually learn these spells. But this is a sign of things to come. The next is Voorish Sign.
Voorish.
Voorish. Voorish Sign is a spell that, very useful spell that increases the likelihood that a spell will succeed.
Oh,
Wow.
certain
that's
signs-
cool.
yeah, certain signs
That's the
that-
first. That's the first
Yeah.
one to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's useful. It's useful for just about any kind of mythos spell. And I had some other ones marked in here. Body Warping of Gorgoroth.
What's that do?
You don't know yet. Well, here, I'll tell you. It allows the caster to change to any shape and appearance, though retaining personal abilities.
Nice.
Wow.
Form must be fleshy.
That's
So
what they've been using.
Yeah.
That's probably what Barry used.
Yeah.
Bless Blade.
Ooh.
And a couple of more here. What was that one?
Less shotgun.
Yes.
For all
Yes.
we know, they had such great hindsight back then to assume that guns and ranged weaponry would work as well. So, yes, probably. Let's do it.
The only reason we're still alive is because we have this book.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Mist of Rayleigh. Releh.
Wow. No wonder they wanted this book back.
Really, it's not spelled in the classic, in the actual like R apostrophe L
No, it's
L Y
different.
E H.
No, it's different from the city of Cthulhu, from the sunken city of Cthulhu. It's Releh, Mist of Rayleigh.
Nice.
That causes a dense mist to appear directly in front of the caster, and obscures vision, etc. I had a couple others in mind here. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, Dominate was already in there. Oh, I know which one it was. It's
What's Dominate do?
Dominate. Well, it's pretty self-explanatory, Lee. With success, the target of Dominate spell obeys the commands of the caster.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Effect 1, etc. There's a spell called Candle Communication. Which is pretty neat.
You would think that they would stop sending letters to each other if they could just talk through candles.
Candle Communication allows two sentient beings to communicate magically by voice at a distance without other apparatus. Requires 2 casters. At a prearranged time, each participant lights a candle and speaks words of the spell over and over until the other's voice can be heard. Works clearly at up to 10 miles. For each additional 100 miles, a fraction thereof just costs more magic points. A blown-out candle flame breaks communication. So you can communicate through candles. It's kind of cool.
That is cool.
Where is it? What I'm doing here is I'm kind of essentially giving you, well, I shouldn't say that.
I'm essentially giving you every single spell in the game at your disposal,
No.
so you should probably burn the book.
No, there's over 200 spells in here. You're not going to.
Oh my god.
Not in the book, Tom.
Oh.
In the rule book, there's over 200.
Oh, okay. Like, what? Dude.
Yeah, later that night. Also, these are the spells.
Yeah, I lit up another syringe, Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Here's a little clue too. As you're scanning these, you notice the summon, bind, buy a key, whatever that is. Related to that spell specifically is enchant whistle.
Oh, it's the same spell. The summon airy traveler is the same spell.
Okay.
That's the same spell, man.
Is that what they sent after us?
No, well, I'm not sure, but that's a spell that I know, that Jacob knows.
No,
Okay.
because I think the whistle. I think it's more likely that the whistle just works for multiple creatures, because airy travelers specifically referred to an invisible creature.
Is it the same spell, Sean?
Looks like it.
The summon bind Bayeki is the same spell as airy travelers.
Looks like it.
Oh, I guess I'm wrong. They've been Bayeki the whole time. Well, that changes my perspective of invisible balls of energy flying around.
Resurrection.
That's much worse.
All right, one more. It's a good one. Clutch of Niagtha.
Ooh.
God.
Flesh of?
Clutch.
Clutch of.
Sounds like a power drain or a magic drain or damage.
It clutch John Scott.
It's a hideous attack spell. And dude, you guys got to remember too, like some of these spells, like this is the territory of wizards and sorcerers here. Because you do realize, like in this game, like these sorcerers are insane. They all have 0 sanity points for a reason. Like for instance,
Well, now I do.
This Clutch of Niagtha costs 1d20 sanity points to cast.
Oh my god.
but it's pretty fucking awesome. Basically, you overcome the target. I'm just going to read it to you, kind of some of it. The caster overcomes the target's magic points. Target feels as though a large hand is crushing his or her heart, losing 1d3 hit points each combat round. While under such attack, the target's temporarily paralyzed, still having a heart attack. And in the round, the target's hit points fall to 0 or less. The target's chest ruptures and bursts, and the target's smoking heart appears in the hand of the caster.
Nice.
Ooh, I like
That'd
that.
That would be worth
Imagine that.
1d20 sanity points.
It would.
Awesome.
As long as you don't miss your target.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Oh, accidentally you grab the chest of the Girl Scout troop behind him. Oh my god, no.
Yeah. And that's it.
That's all?
Yeah.
Yeah, really?
Wow.
Dude, all right, we got some stuff to read here and some stuff to learn.
Well, I think the first, I mean, if we did want to learn anything, the first one would be the Vorish Sign.
Yes.
Because that's going to augment any kind of other spell. And then the next spell would be some sort of offensive spell.
Yep.
Yeah. So
if you want to go that way. Yeah.
let's see. We're looking at
I suggest that we learn the Powder of Ebenghazi, Resurrection. Maybe those summon binds, because who knows? Maybe we could bind and summon a fire vampire to deal with our problems.
Yeah, exactly.
Who in the party knows how to cast or who can do an Elder Sign at this stage? Anybody?
By the way, guys,
No.
I have successfully
No.
saved.
We just have the one on the shield, man.
I've successfully saved our spells under the Necronomicon. If you look under the books folder, all of the spells are there, and what Dad has so far spoken about with the spells that he has slightly described.
wow, that's a lot.
Wow, look at that.
Right,
Oh my god.
So, and notice that it takes an average of 68 weeks to study, which translates to.
Yeah. I don't think we have enough time to do that, but I do know the summon Bayaki spell, you know.
Well, wait a minute. Would it take 68 weeks to learn all the spells, or just one of the spells?
No, you have to read the book, okay?
Yep.
And we're looking at that. That's an average, a base of 17 months of study, of daily study of the Necronomicon to read it, and you're going to take another massive sanity hit after that. And then after that, basically you can choose which spells you want to try to learn, and I think it's generally like 2d6 will tell you how many days, I think.
Right, so it's kind of like Nameless Cults, where you read the book, but then you have to actually dedicate the spells to memory. Like, yeah. Now, if you fully read the book, can you cast a spell with the book in hand? Like, can I flip to the page with Call Dismiss Haster, for example, if I wanted to end the world and do it from the book rather than learning the spell itself? No? Okay.
No, you actually have to learn and practice the spell to learn it.
Oh,
And generally,
great.
here's
You have
how it
to
works.
practice.
Here's how learning spells works, okay? And they're attempts. You have to attempt to learn it. So once you've read and fully comprehended the Necronomicon after a year and a half or whatever, maybe less for some of you, then you get an increase in your Cthulhu Mythos skill, which is pretty awesome. You take another massive sanity hit, depending on how you roll. And then you have the option to start learning some of these spells. You have basically, for the Necronomicon, I believe it's going to be intelligence times 4. So you make an intelligence times 4 roll, which is a spell multiplier. And it takes 2d6 weeks of additional study for each spell.
Mm.
And each attempt to learn the spell. And actually, if someone learns it, you can learn spells from other people too. They can teach it to you. And it's that's an intelligence times 3. It only takes a week. So, depending on how things go, if you guys start learning spells or whatever, and don't go insane by doing it, or after reading the Necronomicon, that is, or whatever happens between now and then, you can teach each other spells that you know.
Yeah, sadly, with
In
Edgar,
less time.
went the last known party member with the Elder Sign, so somebody's gonna have to learn that again.
Now, note
So-
also something else that you'll learn from the Necronomicon. Dude, you guys are going to learn many, 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 many things from the Necronomicon after having read it. One of the things that you will learn is that mythos entities, demons, gods, creatures, whatever you want to call them, also have the ability to impart spells upon you. You just kind of just implant them in your mind. All you got to do is ask.
So, like, say, summon bind fire vampire. The vampire might have a spell of his own.
Yeah, maybe.
Cool.
Or
But,
contacting
usually-
Nyarlathotep, and he says, "Hey, dude, I'll make you a
Right.
deal right now. You're a mortal soul for, here, have some minions."
No, actually, Nyarlathotep, he wouldn't require it. He loves giving people spells.
Yeah,
That's like his thing.
Yeah, he's totally
loves
down.
sowing
with
He just wants to
chaos.
see where it's-
souls.
He wants to know what the loaded gun's going to do once it's set on the table.
Yeah, that's essentially his thing. He
Yeah,
loves.
I
If you want something from Nyarlathotep, he's more than happy to give it to you. He's like, here, it's all yours. Have fun. That's his thing, like literally. He loves sowing chaos and madness and.
Yeah, he's the kind of person that will give you the magical button that gives you $1 million and kills the closest person. Like,
And
So
also,
go ahead, Sean.
just one more thing, Lee. I can also give you some information on other benefits and effects of this, of having read this. Just mechanically speaking, and kind of out of game. It will impart vast amounts of accurate knowledge in many different areas, even besides mythos knowledge. It'll give you skill checks in anthropology, archaeology, astronomy, chemistry, geology, history, occult, pharmacy, and physics.
oh, dude, wait! It just occurred to me. Dominate. We should learn dominate because the things that they throw at us, the bound creatures that they hurl at us, we can dominate them. Right? Like,
I think it's a great idea to delve deeper into this book. I think the issue with the book right now is the amount of time it's going to take to actually
right.
grok these spells. So in the immediate, the question is, what's our plan of attack? And I do know one spell. Once I'm fully recovered, I can definitely do the summon Bayaki and bind it.
Right.
But then there's also the New York opportunity we have to lash out against these guys, man. So I think those are our two.
Oh, and we should.
These are our two immediate,
But wait, why is it immediate? Why can't we wait 68 weeks and learn this first?
Oh,
What's-
dude, these.
What's the
Well,
rush?
first of all, these guys obviously have access to a lot of these spells themselves. I mean, they're going to be launching attacks against us, man. We need to be proactive in our attack against them.
It's probably safe to assume that among all of them, or some of them, that they have access to all of those spells that I just.
So we need to be proactive, man. Otherwise, we're going to be suffering casualties very soon.
They're gonna call Haster on
Well,
us here soon.
it's probably
Yeah.
only a matter of time before they
So
find it, because they're gonna know that Jacob was injured, because I'm sure that thing they sent probably reported back. Like, yeah,
Well,
I picked him
I
up
mean-
and thrashed him around.
Yeah, you guys did just spend, almost a full week at the hospital there in Montpellier, and haven't been fucked with.
All right.
So that
I guess-
that leads you to believe that you're safe, at least for the time being, right?
That's what I'm getting at.
yeah, I mean,
That's what I'm getting at.
well, I mean, if you want to, we can. Once I'm recovered, we can relocate, and I can try to cast this spell. And if you guys want to try to study the book, we can do that. But I'm just concerned about their ability to cast spells, man.
No, I agree. I agree.
It's an issue.
But I'd rather, if we are safe and they can't track us, and we can bide our time, learn these spells and beef up our ability to attack, and then go in, mano y mano. Fine, I'll call my vampire, you call yours. At least we're on even ground. But trying to go in there now without having this knowledge, you're not even being able to cast an elder sign. I think that's unwise to go rushing into New York or anywhere else at this point.
Even okay, go ahead, Sean.
No, go ahead. What you're saying there. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say even into New York, Tom. You don't think we should take the opportunity to go snatch this guy up or blow his brains out?
Well, I'm worried if we go poking around New York, are they going to light a candle and talk to the guy, and then they're going to know where we're at? I'm just.
Well, we'd have to be careful. I mean, we could just go down there willy nilly. But
no, I agree. But if we truly are incognito right now, they really don't know where we are at, and we can really stay under the radar. What's the downside of studying the 68 plus weeks?
Only sanity. That's about it.
Well, only sanity, and the domination spell and the shrivel spell and the summon spells and all that stuff they can leverage against us, right?
Not if they can't find us. I'm going on the premise they can't find us.
So I think this is, what we've got here is a good compromise between, what Alex/Edgar was lobbying for from the start, which is, like guerrilla warfare, and we're going to go at them. So I like it.
That's why this New York angle is so great, because it kind of does both. We go in there quietly and, unbeknownst
blow this
to
guy,
them,
kill this guy.
Kill Stanford, just outright. And then move on from there. Next city, next guy. Like that's the deal. We'll
Stanford and then Stanford and then Scott. And then
Stanford and this other guy that they're dealing with, the dude in that other letter.
Black.
Black. Just get rid of him. He's obviously associated. He's the one leading these Yogg-Sothoth prayers. So get rid of him and his inferior gods. So so I suggest that we head to New York, get a new hotel every night, different sectors of the city, figure out where this guy is meeting, what kind of security detail he has, move in when the time is right. But we can't stay too long, or else they might get suspicious. They might see us on the street. Somebody that they know might see us on the street and be like, "Oh, wow, they're here."
Well, I'm even for
roll a pineapple grenade right in there about the same time that thing arrives.
Well, here's another idea. I mean, we could simply assassinate this guy with a rifle. I mean, if we know where the meeting is, and we know he's heading into this meeting, get a scoped rifle. Whoever's got the best rifle. I have a pretty high rifle percentage.
What is
blow his freaking head off, and then summon the Bayaki and have that one go after like Pollard.
I kind of like what Alex was saying, guerrilla tactics, man. I mean, it's
for sure.
You're not gonna be able to. I mean, you guys know this from having played the game. It's a very a face-to-face, straight-up war with this kind of stuff is gonna end badly every time.
Yes.
It's got to be, I mean, you guys are marked. You guys have fucking Necronomicon, and it goes without saying, you guys need to be very careful about who knows that you own this book. They know you have it, but
we got to start some rooftop sniping, some real gangster stuff here. We go, we execute the guy, we run, and then we just hit him hard again, as soon as possible. We hit the next guy, then the next leader. We figure out who the leaders are after that. We just systematically, man. That's how it's got to be. These people are evil. They're kidnapping people's daughters. They're sacrificing people. They're creating monsters. I mean,
I'm all for going to New York and hitting this guy. I think that's an excellent idea. And then, if it needs to be up close and personal, I'm all for it, man. I'll step up right to him and shoot him right in the noggin.
But we see that, I mean, we got to do it from 100 feet away behind glass pane in the building.
If that's an option,
but yes,
if that's an option, Otherwise,
Yep.
I say we step up.
we gotta do some flyby machine guns, and that's what we gotta do.
And we gotta summon the Bayaki. Come on.
I
Yeah.
think didn't
Someone
we?
invited. It can
Didn't
teach us
we?
a spell,
didn't-
and it'll go eat somebody.
Didn't we go to one of these meetings already? Don't we kind of know where that's happening?
No, I know where the address was. Well, Eusephus knew where the address was, and we have the article. Sean showed it to us again. So
Yeah, the
Okay.
address. is
we
actually
never
on
went
the
down. We didn't want to. As a party, we decided we didn't want to separate. So
Okay.
The address is actually right there, 320 Black Bay Lane.
And maybe we can actually get the public involved in some way that's not directly related to us. Maybe we send a Bayaki after Pollard while he's at his all girls school.
No, I think doing the summon spell and sending something after Pollard's a great idea.
Yeah. Then
Headmaster, what's that in the sky? Ah!
Do not fear, dear. Lightning bolts.
The Necronomicon says at the end, towards the end of it, it says, "Seek ever to hold back the powers of the cults of the ancient worship, that they might not grow strong on their blood and on their sacrifice. By their wounds shall ye know them, and by their smell, for they are not born as men, but in some other fashion, by some corruption of seed or spirit that has given them other properties than those we are familiar with. And they like the dark places best, for their god is a worm."
For their god is a worm. That is my new motto.
And then it says something like, "Ya, Shuja, Ya, Bara." It gives this little incantation. It says, "The stars grow dim in their places, and the moon pales before me, as though a veil were blown across its flame. Dog-faced demons approach the circumference of my sanctuary. Strange lines appear carved on my door and walls, and the light from the windows grows increasing dim. A wind has risen, and the last books of the Necronomicon say the dark waters stir. This is the book of the servant of the gods." And I will also mention, interestingly, from having skimmed it, this book contains a vast amount of historical data going all the way back 5 billion years before the present day.
Holy shit.
The history goes back, it says in the book that 4.5 billion years ago, Cthulhu and its fire vampires appeared on the earth. It tells you that the first humans appeared about 1 million BC, marking the fall of the Vormis in Hyperborea. And there is some very interesting history in this book as well. And it literally goes back billions of years.
Does it mention the name of the king of Hyperborea or the god of Hyperborea? Just out of curiosity.
You're gonna have to read it and
I need an
it
alias. I need a god name. I am the god king of Hyperborea.
1 billion BC. He talks about elder things arriving on Earth. And there's actually some natural history knowledge in here as well. I mean, he acknowledges, 65 million mammals become dominant forms. And he speaks of many different cataclysms. He talks about many different alien races warring over dominance of Earth. 25,000 BC, serpent men raised their second kingdom on the Thurian continent, which has risen from the Atlantic, from the ashes of Lemuria and Atlantis. So yeah, there's vast knowledge in this book. Definitely worth a read. As far as the spells go, though, I mean, you guys have to realize that knowing and casting these spells can almost be as dangerous as having them cast on you in some instances.
Right.
I mean, they can be unpredictable and very damaging to your psyche in some ways. You guys are mere humans. Some things are just not meant to be known, and this book is full of that kind of knowledge. But I hear what you're saying about New York. So
yeah, it's time.
I mean, you guys. Yeah, and don't forget about the letter, from David Lee too. He's apparently had contact with this Look to the Future group.
Yeah, we should. I think we should definitely go to New York and get a safe house and at least contact David Lee.
Agreed. Hey guys, I got a child emergency. I'll be right back. Nothing critical, nobody's lost an arm or something, but I gotta go handle something. I'll be right back.
Right. Yeah.
Well, maybe,
Yeah, but I think getting a safe house, like Alex suggested, moving around different hotels or staying some different places, and then trying to find David Lee and contact him and talk to him, and then from there we can decide if we want to cast a spell and how we want to hit this guy.
Maybe we should start thinking about stashing some stuff away overseas, like in some Swedish banks or whatever they are. Is that what they are? Swedish? No, they're not Swedish. The banks.
Swiss.
Swiss, yeah.
The Swiss banks, yeah.
Swiss banks, yeah. Maybe we should start considering those options for specifically interesting things like the medallions.
Yeah, keep in mind too that if what David Lee says is true, not only does if what David Lee says is true, not only you need to keep this in mind. If it's true, these guys not only have access to, what you're seeing here in the Necronomicon, they apparently have some way, some
future
means
items
to bring back these extraordinary artifacts. They say were brought back from the future by the mental effort put forth in these meetings. And David Lee says I saw reason to believe that those statements are true.
We have seen reasons to believe that those statements are true.
Yeah.
Dude had a future bike system. He had the freaking... Yep. Yeah.
So not only do they have access to this crazy mythos magic, this deadly shit, but they may have access to things that are just some kind of unimaginable technology.
We also have gate boxes. We have that capability now. Maybe
we have to make those boxes.
Maybe we should consider finding a way to utilize that.
Absolutely.
in other words, creating a box and then having it sent to my property in France.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then
so we assault a property and then we drop our sticks of dynamite, our calling card, and we jump through the box.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe we stick the other box in Jacob's car, like the trunk of Jacob's car, so we can just.
Well,
we have
it should be pretty obvious how useful these boxes could be in the future.
Say that again, Sean. What's that?
It should be pretty obvious how useful these boxes could be for you guys in the future.
Yes.
That's some pretty powerful magic there.
So we got a little Cthulhu shop class going on.
So it sounds
history
like
lesson.
Yep. So even before we go to New York, do we want to make some boxes?
Who wants to sacrifice the power?
I think
1 power equals
It's
how
only
many
1 power.
magic points?
1.
I think it's something we can probably sleep on until next week, right?
Okay.
Yeah. In fact,
we might make some. Yeah.
It's been a full night of uncovering what's in the Necronomicon. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's literally going to take an average of 1.5 years to even read the Necronomicon. So
maybe we can have somebody do it for us.
Yeah, I like our current strategy though. I do like our current strategy, which is to
Yeah. We found a great
attack. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Precisely.
And I mean, we have the names of other potential targets. You know, we can.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. We've got a whole list, man. We've got a whole list, and we're going to X them each out.
God, it's so evil, man.
Just start executing people.
Yeah. For at least for Crown and Shield Manor.
And torturing and mentally destroying Dr.
Yeah, the
Helsing's
daughter. Yeah,
Oh,
for
dude.
sure.
Absolutely. Revenge.
And worshipping inferior god worms. They should be worshipping me like they used to.
Yeah, but I think going to see if we can't find David Lee is definitely the next step, and then from there possibly casting a spell and attacking Carl Stanford at this meeting.
Yep, and then we even after that we can even go all the way to Europe. We have a potential contact in the occult in Europe, and that dude we met on the ship. Remember him? We can still see that guy.
Yeah, Trelane.
The Dreamer.
I don't know. He was murdered by the galley.
We should check up on him sometime. See how he's doing.
At least his dream form was. I guess his physical form wasn't there, so he still could be alive, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, if nothing else, he's just an occult contact. Hopefully, he hasn't been grabbed up by Thule Bruderschaft yet.
That actually is it could be relevant.
Yeah, for sure.
He might know some things that are beyond what we know, you know? I mean, he's a dreamer, and he seemed to know what was up.
I came out of the closet.
I'm totally interested in the dream world stuff. That sounds very cool.
All right, cool. Well,
Yeah,
stuff to think about.
Yeah.
And,
Excellent.
Yeah.
Great game.
Yeah, great game, guys.
All right.
That was
A lot to
informative.
think about.
We have
Very.
options.
Go get on my computer.
We learned a lot and we survived. That's a victory.
We did.
Yes, I was very generous in giving you guys some downtime to recuperate.
Very
Yeah.
generous. I was really
Yeah,
afraid
man.
that they were just gonna. I was afraid they were just gonna,
Really.
black hole
Well, you're
the
my-
hospital.
Man, you hear my clarion call. It's attack.
I may not be so generous in the future.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Time to get busy, guys.
But it's getting to be Christmas time. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have plenty of presents to give.
Big Doug on us.
We have plenty of presents to give in the form of hot lead and dynamite.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, what time of year is it in game?
Late June, 1924.
All right, cool. Yeah, guys, that was awesome.
Summertime.
Yeah, good
All
stuff.
right, yeah. So next session there should be some action, and hopefully everybody will be okay.
Yeah, well, you know how it is.
Hopefully Jacob gets to shoot somebody in the head.
Yeah.
He just can't wait. We got to send him out on a big game hunt or something.
I'm wanting to.
How many weeks is Edgar and Chelsea going to need? I mean, what's that look like?
He was at
Well,
11, so
Yeah, I'll keep some notes.
Okay.
Basically, once a month, they get a psychoanalysis check
Okay.
to see
Okay.
if they start
You know-
regaining some sanity points.
Okay.
Will Chelsea Van Helsing get a different picture once she starts to regain sanity?
Let's
A
hope.
makeover. Yeah.
No.
That'd be
I
nice.
don't think so.
That's as good as she looks.
I don't think so.
Mentally healthy or not. Okay, got it.
No, I don't think so.
Apple doesn't fall far from the tree, Dr. Van Helsing.
Yeah.
But she's got a
You
great
never know, I mean,
personality.
She could be a future investigator if she recovers.
That's what I'm
that would be
thinking.
cool.
Yes. That would be cool.
Carry on
Yep.
the legacy.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. She'd be my backup
Once
character.
her father falls to the worm cultists.
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
their gods are worms.
But yeah, it could be a lengthy process, dude. I mean, it could be months, it could be years, it could be never.
Right. Okay. All right.
Just the nature of things.
And I mean,
when it comes
even
to
then,
these
you have
things.
to remember, Edgar has a wife, which is something we don't really think about much in the course of playing the game. Like,
Oh,
I am a
that's
police
because it's
officer
1924.
and a family man.
does his
Yeah.
wife know where he is? Did anybody call her?
I presume he probably has at some point, but she's probably like in complete disarray or misunderstanding. So
Oh, she's probably down in the hell demon pits by now.
yeah,
I was
most
going to say you
likely.
might want to be careful. She's probably
No,
been
we've sent her some letters and been like, oh no, Edgar's doing this and that. He's fine. Don't worry. He's okay. He's traveling overseas.
Yeah, but no.
Spreading the good news. He's spreading the good news overseas. He's doing missionary work. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yes, but the Silver Twilight will go after her.
Yeah,
for
the Silver
revenge.
Twilight might just grab her and stick her in a hole for all of eternity, turn her into a wolf monster, which would be awful.
She's probably already there.
Yeah, probably, if not dead.
All right, maybe she's just visiting her. Maybe she's just visiting her mother in Indiana, and everything's fine.
Hopefully
Look
so.
at the
Yes.
bright side, man. The
You
Casey
guys-
bloodline's going on with some birthed out wolf monsters. Woo!
Jesus Christ.
Nice.
Was that
Yeah,
a
that's exactly the sound you're gonna make when you see that first wolf monster, baby.
the
Woo!
kabuki theater yell?
You go full taiko drums.
Yo.
Well,
All
on
right,
that
guys.
note,
Well, everybody have a nice holiday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
You. yeah. Happy Thanksgiving,
you
everyone.
two guys, that was awesome.
Yeah,
All right, gentlemen.
next week should be pretty interesting. I look
Yep.
forward to it.
Good night.
Can't wait.